Mr. James Scarlett, my good friend. We go again.
Fuck yes, we do, mate. It's been a while. We'd forgotten how to use technology. We've plugged in some mics for the first time. How are you doing? How are you feeling?
Good, mate. Good. It feels a wee bit like episode 1 again. I feel like so. How long was that break from doing it like this? What, 4 or 5 weeks, maybe? I mean, that's a long time for doing it every single week, sometimes twice in the week, to not doing it at all. And I was a bit like building up, right, where does the mic go again? And I tried to start this conversation without being properly Ethernet into the back of the computer, just back to the amateurish shit we probably done about a year ago. So, it feels different, and I suppose it would. For me, there was a question that we might have got to, or we're going to get to in the live podding. Is Jasmine Kate or Yasmin Kate? She always complains that I get it wrong. And she said, what's your plans now with the pod going forward without Bri? And I was going to bring it up at the time, and I don't think I had the mental capacity to actually deal with it. But now that I'm here, I will address it. It feels more important than it did beforehand. It's something else that's part of Bri's memory and legacy, I suppose, if you want to put it like that I'm involved in. And I as important as I thought this pod, and as much as I enjoyed doing this with you before, it was a lot of fun, and now it's a lot of fun with a slightly deeper meaning that Bri's not here doing this with us. So one thing a big man would always say, complain for me right through every episode of Damnation Versus and every episode of Two Promoters One Pod, is going to promote the damn thing, going to tell the people, hit like, hit subscribe, hit the rating on Spotify, like on YouTube, follow us, all that kind of crap. And next episode, Brian, next episode, mate, I promise I'll get to it. So if yous would, let's look at this as Two Promoters One Pod version 2.0. Hit like, hit subscribe, rate us, do whatever that jazz that the algorithm loves. Buy the tickets for the fucking Christmas show, come and have some fun with us there. Support the Patreon, buy merch. Let's have a right good fucking crack at this podcast without Brian, and see where we go with it. So kind of laying that on you thick there, James. Mate. Like, there you go to start, but that's how I feel, Yasmin, about the future of the podcast. I'm all in.
Fuck yeah, we're going again. We're going bigger. So talking of bigger, the last time I saw you was at 6 a.m. on the Saturday night, Sunday morning of ArcTangent. You did it. You made it to the end.
At the very end. you know when you get to the 5 a.m. club and then people start splintering off for the 5 a.m. club, you get to the 6 a.m. club, like, this is the desperation club now. There is no fun. Everyone's non-verbal, staring at the last of their pint into the table. Like, the 6 a.m. club is not the place to be.
Well, the weird thing about the late night last night at the festival club is that at some point it no longer becomes fun, and everyone's like, yeah, I think it's time to go to bed now. But it was nice. There was I think there was about 10 of us. Paul was there.
It was. I mean, they end up back at the barn, because that's the thing with the barn's just an empty shell now, isn't it? And years gone by at ArcTangent, you would have some of the staff back there, some of the artists would be back.
I remember one time the backstage bar. One year it was the backstage bar. A few years,
we were Hayden, some guy for Opeth, me, you, Miles, and sitting drinking at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. So when you go back to that, but it's quite eerie now when you go in there and you just a few folks sleeping upstairs.
Yeah. So what was your so we last podded at 10 a.m. on the Saturday morning. How was your final day? Was it a good one?
Yeah, I mean, I think I said online, I mean, doing that podcast and the dedication to Bright at the start, after that, it was like 2 bowling balls going off my shoulders. It really sat with me quite a lot over the weekend. In fact, that's probably the most emotional weekend of my entire life. It was a weird one, because I came in, well, first off, I'd done the 5 out of 5. I'd done Trees into Portugal, into my brother's stag do, into Disney World, and then flew Orlando to Atlanta, Edinburgh, driving across to Glasgow to Bristol, and then start again. So effectively, the final day that I left Orlando, I just restarted my morning again in Bristol, and just kept going. So I was a bit frazzled, bit jet lagged. There was a lot of, it felt like it was a lot of highs, and not lows to lows, but definitely that pressure and that feeling of responsibility to go on and do Bri justice that sat with me quite heavily before. When you saw me beforehand, it was like, it's not so much about getting up and saying kind words about the big man. I mean, we could sit and do that. I could do that with my wife or you for hours on end, but doing it with a mic in your phone, a microphone in your hand, in front of a tent, and you get somebody like Fro saying to you, I'm going to record the first 5 minutes to send to Bry's mum, and it just like it was just like slabs going on your back as you were going up there, and I was like, if I go up here and I lose it, I don't know if I'll quickly get it back under control. And if you're not in control, if you're a sobbing mess, then that's no tribute to MD. That's just a 43-year-old man on stage bubbling. So after that, it was a huge sigh of relief, and I felt like we'd done the big man justice.
You did a fucking brilliant job, mate. Because obviously I didn't know what you were going to say. We never know what the other person's going to say, but particularly in that situation, and we'd agreed that I would shut up and you would talk, and you did a fucking great job, I thought. So, well done, mate.
Thank you. It was a weird spot for you to be in, because you're a bit like, okay, well, I have worked a bit with Bry for the last 13, 14 months, and I had met him, and he was a legendary guy, but at the same time, like, I was his mate for 20 years and I'd worked with him very close. So it's a bit like when I go to a funeral and you've got the brother and the mum, or even Sally Baker, his best pal, talking. I'm a bit like I never had that relationship with Bry that family members and his close friends that he got to go to gigs with at weekends got. So we negotiated that. I feel like we done it proud, and then that was that. How do we get from the tribute to what we're about? And that shit story was definitely the way. I mean, Bryce held her after that.
Shit will get you there. I feel like we probably need to debrief what the fuck happened with the walk on, because I've thought about this, and I feel like I went on at the right time. But I like waved at the crowd, turned around, and you weren't there, and then I was like, fuck, Gav is really not here. He's actually not here.
I felt like when you get up there, I felt like you were like 10, 15 seconds too early. It was like Julie had really just started the nail, and everybody got. And by the time she went Gavin James, you were already on the stage by the time she was screaming James.
Mate, I blame fucking Tom Begley. I feel like it's Tom Begley's fault. But yeah, if Tom
Begley had been like, come on, boy, you should have 15, 20 seconds before you got. But then that took that sense of bit of humour took the edge off it too. So the final day was it was just James, such a special weekend. It felt, between the jet lag and me frazzled, and the podcast with extra meaning because of Bry, and like everyone, I mean, Jesus Christ, I felt like everyone on that site, all 10, 12, 15,000, everyone seemed to know who we were, which was the first time I've ever done it. Even last ArcTangent or any Damnation, I mean, you always feel like there's people that don't, but it was like all the time. Sorry to hear about Bry, looking forward to the pod. There was people coming up and giving you vinyl and fucking t-shirts, and I mean, I've got vinyl left, right. I mean, I know people think that I travel everywhere and like my own private jet, but I was in EasyJet with no carriage. You know what I mean? You go in EasyJet and you keep that one wee hand thingy so you don't need to pay any luggage, and people just handed me, like Mark from We Lost to Sea, and we can talk at length about Mark and We Lost to Sea as we go into this, but he brought me like a Departure Songs test press that's worth like a couple of $1,000, and he's got that there. And then Paddy, poor fucking Paddy, the last two times he's met me or came to speak to me has been exactly before I'm about to walk on the stage to do Two Promoters One Pod, and I like to be as friendly as I possibly can, and maybe people think I'm no nervous before I go on stage, but I'm fucking psyching myself into like I need to go on stage and try and entertain people or giving up their time to come and see us. So the last couple of times she's showed up, he's like, alright Gav, as if it's like, I don't know, a Tuesday afternoon and everyone's got a high five and go for a coffee, and I'm trying to get myself in the game, especially at this time. And he brought like a Cretopsy None So Vile 30th anniversary 250 copies limited edition record, handed me it. And then a weird one as well. I was in the middle of a tent watching Envy, and somebody came up and just handed me 2 records and 2 shirts, presumably one for you of each of those, and said cheers, I hope you listened, and then walked away. I don't even know who the band is, so I was just gonna at random points walking about with this selection of records and vinyl and merch, and people saying hello and stopping and talking about Bry and how much they enjoyed the pod. And then it was the performances were fantastic, the bands I met were all fantastic, people buying you drinks. I mean, I don't know how many drinks, but I feel like I must have absolutely smashed you. At one point I had my fingers in 3 different White Russians that people had bought me, and a pint, and telling people please don't buy me any more drinks. I have no more fingers left to hold. So it was just It was a lot. It was like full 360-degree emotional sort of between sorry for your loss and fuck yes, let's go again. It was. I mean, did you feel that?
Oh mate, I mean it really is a lot. I mean I've got over my shoulder here the Mars Volta like a single with the song Francis the Mute, which didn't, even though it's the name of an album, it didn't end up on an album. And this guy came up to me and he's like, I bought you a present. It's this. I've heard you talk about the Mars Volta box set. I'm pretty sure you don't own this part of it. And he's basically like, he's identified that this is the missing link for me. And he's found me at a festival and given me a record. And I'm like, honestly, I had loads of stuff. This hat, which I think is fucking great, someone gave to me. And loads of stuff. It's such a new thing. Like pre-podcast, didn't used to get any of this. And it's quite overwhelming. And I think as we probably talked about it on the live pod, but there was one day when me and Ollie and the Power Tool crew were like having a drink in the bar, and we went to go to watch a band, and I took 2 steps. Someone said hello, and we love the podcast, we love the festival, and we walked 4 steps, and then someone stopped us, and Ollie was just pissing himself laughing because I basically couldn't. It's really strange. It's a bit like being Tom Cruise for a day. It's like you're just trying to be polite to everyone, and I'm like, I really want to watch this fucking band. I want to watch this band so much. And yeah, people are just chucking presents at you. I hope it doesn't sound egotistical to talk about it. It's just because we're like, what the fuck is going on? What is going on?
There's a lot of sentences you can't say without sounding like a total wanker. I mean, it's impossible, but at the same time, it's like when people go, how does it feel to be famous? What are you supposed to say to them? Oh, this isn't how it would feel. Like, this is exactly how it would feel if you were famous. It just happens in these small, wee niche tents and car parks, and then you leave. Then since then, do you know how many people have given me presents and said, how are you going to love the podcast? Since I left Fernhill Farm? Zero, yeah. Not one. So you very quickly go back to just being fucking Joe Blogs.
Why is no one recognising me?
I'm walking down the high street like, what the fuck? No one, not a single person here knows. So it's a bizarre one, and I really appreciate it. Even the more difficult touching the subjects. I mean, to hear, oh sorry, but Bri, we'll say 100 times, you'd be like, it's always taking you back to the fact that Bri's not here. But that's still, even 100 times, you'll be like, I appreciate that. And I hope that got across to everybody how much I appreciated how many people came out at 10 a.m. in that final day, because people had been baked and broken, and to fill that PX3, I mean, fill it and then some.
It was great,
I mean, it's
wasn't
like,
it?
we need to chat about it, because there was people who couldn't hear the podcast between Sugar's sound checking and the mics not being fantastic. So even in the bigger tent, there was a lot of people couldn't get in to hear it.
Yeah, well, there's someone asked about, can we do it on the Silent Disco headphones next year? So we'll have a look at that. But it's funny you were saying about Paddy coming and talking to you and you being, I think people don't expect you to be nervous, and because once we're on stage, I don't think we probably don't seem nervous, but like, do you remember we got there, and as I was leaving Caravan Land in the morning, I said to Shifty, I've forgotten something. What is it? I just don't know what I've forgotten. And I fucking drove up there, picked you up, went to the stage, and we were hanging around, and I went out to look at if there was anyone in the crowd, and I suddenly realised I couldn't fucking see. And I was like, okay, I'm not wearing my contact lenses, I can't do this without my contact lenses. And suddenly, and I was doing a really good job of like keeping my stress levels low. Suddenly my stress levels went through the roof, because I realised I had a fucking 10-minute drive back, and then a 10-minute drive again. And as I was coming back, one of our breakdown helpers, Ray, she asked me for a lift. And all the way back, she was talking to me, and I said nothing. And I saw her on the Sunday, and I'm like, I'm really sorry if I was rude. My head was about to come off. I was like, why have I made my life stressful? Just fucking stop asking me questions. You've got a staging guy. You've got a guy that provides all your staging. So I was in the VIP bar with him the night before, and just shooting the shit about staging. Shit that I never knew about. Staging this, staging that. Is this
Daryl?
Daryl.
That sort of.
Yeah, Daryl.
Aye. So he's sitting chatting away, and he's looking at me like, "Are you okay?" It's like just. But what do you say? Like, mate, I don't do this for a living. Like, you know, on stage, this is maybe my 11th time doing it. Maybe if I do it 100 times, I'll go up there and I'll just stroll on, especially if I'm not going to go up there and talk about anything sensitive. But at the minute, I'm just trying to get my head in the game and go in here and hold this together. And he's just like carrying on the conversation for last night, like nothing's changed in my life, and I'm not just about to go up here and do this. And you're just like, I don't know. I see bands before they go on stage, and I'm a bit like, oh, that must still be, after 500 shows, that must still be quite nerve-wracking to go up and make sure you want near it. And after, when bands come off stage, I'm always mindful of, like, you must need at least that 5-10 minutes to decompress for that whole, oh my god, we just went up a smash. Or at least be with your bandmates to be like, oh, whatever shit you want. People just think you walk on that stage and walk back off it as if you've went for a roll at shops. I mean, it's like, it's a weird high and a weird, like, that adrenaline dump at the other side of it.
Yeah, it's a very, very strange thing that we're still getting used to. I think we've only done about 10 of them, haven't we, in total? We should say sorry to Daryl, actually, because on the Wednesday or Thursday night, I was a bit pissed and I was big time in it, and I was like, let's get a riser, let's put a riser up on the stage at the front so we're higher up. I think I told Sarah and Alan, and Daryl got wind of it, and then I turned up that morning and fucking Daryl's there with the deck, and because there was only a 10-minute changeover for the band that was on straight after us, I suddenly felt a bit awkward about it, but I realised basically from me being like, yes, we want a riser, 2 days later, I've not said to anyone or even thought about the fact that we might not really need that or want it, or we might look like wankers with a riser. So,
I was going to ask because how do you feel about this riser? And I was trying to politely say, I don't care. What difference does it make? I don't care if I get a riser or I don't have a riser. But James has been a bit non-committal. Do you want the riser? And I'm like, this is the one decision James is going to have to make, right? If he wants us in a riser, I'll sit in one. If not, I'm happy without one.
Next year we're going risers.
So talk about this is the opposite of everything I've ever said about the podcast, and I'm always make it small, fill it in. I think if it's at all possible, and if we're going to do ArcTangent live again next year, you go for yokai, and but listen to it, and you accept that you're never filling yokai. That's not the point, but everyone who can get in gets in, and they get in with their seat and their roll mat, and they get the comfort of it, and you look out and okay, it's not right to the back and right to the sides, but everyone who wants to come and enjoy the podcast can do it in comfort, and we just go over the fact that, right, okay, we're not in a tent that's at capacity. Big timing, mate.
You've won up my riser there by just going to the next stage. Okay.
Because I think we could just do that main stage, but you go into main stage, it would look so pathetic. Even if you had the 1500 in there, it would look so pathetic, it would put you off doing it because you feel like you would still be doing it to an empty tent. But I think yokai is that in between where it can be half full and still feel like it's quite intimate and everybody gets in.
You've booked more bands than I have for next year so far.
We'll discuss that right now.
Okay,
we'll discuss that right now. Right. You said to me in the tent beforehand, you'd put, why don't you suggest some headliners for me next year, right? And I was like, ArcTangent's one of those ones you've rinsed that headliners cycle quite a lot. It's difficult to come up with a fresh name that's, Massive Attack, and you go, why, man, but they've just done 22,000 tickets in Manchester alone. They're not in a bubble anymore. So I said to you, well, I could suggest a couple of Wednesday bands, but I'm thinking, that's an easy hit because you're returning bands Wednesday. It's not like a big surprise. You're going to get some bands, and you're always like, I want bands that have pulled big crowds, and I want bands that people have been excited about and people would be interested to come see again. And Obscure and Overhead the Albatross were like just two of those absolute bankers. And then I said it on stage and you look like a chat in your coffee. It was like, mate, you can't just book bands on stage. It's like, what? You just told me to do this. You literally just told me to do this.
I don't know, it somehow felt different because not that I don't think I've met Overhead the Albatross, but it felt like closer to the pod. I don't know. We've basically booked them already, haven't we?
Yeah, look, from an objective, and I would never have done that. I would never have had a band that I went to see and I was like, oh, I really enjoyed them, but the tent was a quarter full and I'm going to go up there and apply pressure to you in front of the crowd and when the band's sitting there to try. I honestly would never do that, but I know objectively what you're looking for in your returning bands. You want those bands where afterwards people are raving about it and people want that chance to go and check. So, like, the Obscure clashed with that band, is it Heave Blood and Die? Heat Blood died. And that was another band that a lot of people wanted to check. And Overhead Albatross would also a clash with a cracking band. That next year's a chance to go and see those bands in yokai, full tents, and not have to worry about missing anything else. Or if you're one of those people who just never got your bed early enough to see Overhead Albatross, that was, James, it was exceptional. I mean, I don't know if you've seen that video yet. The tent was pretty full at 11 a.m. for a band for Ireland who flew in that day and flew straight back. So,
well, I saw them. I mean, annoyingly, I watched 84 bands, right? I broke my personal best, 84. It's my fucking highest ever in 18 years of either festival. And some of them, as we'll come on to later, I went in deep on. I watched full sets by some bands and concentrated. But there was a lot of one song of this or half a set of this. And unfortunately, I started with Overhead the Albatross and I thought it was great. And then I left to go and watch the band that they were clashing with, who I can't remember who that was. So I didn't see the end and I didn't get the full experience that some people get. And unfortunately, as the organiser of the festival, you rarely get the full experience that other people are getting.
I mean, that final, but that video, I think I shared it to Tom Begley when that, but the end of that was just, it was as good as it got. I mean, it's like, I think that We Lost the Sea are the best active post-rock band in the world. But whatever type of music that is that Overhead the Albatross do, where they take it electronically away from post-rock into that almost like rave post-rock, that's just as exciting as it gets. I mean, We Lost the Sea are greater 4-5 stoic guys on stage staring at their shoes. Overhead the Albatross want you to have a rave with it and cry.
They were amazing.
I fucking love them, absolutely love that. So if Dim Skewer and Overhead the Albatross find themselves in next year's Wednesday poster, that would just be wonderful.
Amazing. While I feel like we're veering around, but this is fine. While we're on the subject, because I know that even We Lost the Sea, Mark said to me, you don't like post-rock. I want you to know that I think We Lost the Sea were fucking brilliant, and their new album has connected with me. And the way they started their set, the first song on the new album, it's got that it's got the fucking, it's brilliant. And he came out on his own and he started the set on his own and they fucking built it in and it was fucking awesome. And I think that song is brilliant. And since I got back from ArcTangent, the album I've been listening to the most is that new We Lost the Sea album. So I'm fucking in.
James, I swear to God, man, and honestly, that'll make the fucking day, especially March. But I tell you, I'm their pal. I'm the guy that they brought firstly, I'm the guy who fucking brought them to the UK, and then I'm the guy who they brought the records for that. But I swear to God, if I had one more time, when do we get to meet the big man? Is Big Man going to what am I, his fucking carer? And then it was like, does James like post-rock? Why does James run the biggest post-rock festival in the world? He doesn't like post-rock. I'm like, oh my God, last thing I had in my bingo card was battering like 10 Aussies, man. But see if you keep asking me about James's opinion and what he thinks. I've already told you it's the greatest thing ever happened. Who gives a shit what James thinks? So he'll be delighted. He'll be utterly delighted to hear that.
Good. Anything else happened for you on the Saturday? Any bands you saw that you...
So, let me pull, because I did catch quite, because I felt like that was a bit of a relief and I got a chance to just bounce around. And I have to say, James, I don't know how you and Rob are thinking about the apps and stuff. I cannot imagine now going to ArcTangent Trees with this app. See, just having that pull for the pocket and you get the wee timeline, it does it for you sort of it just shows you where you are in the day.
Mate.
You don't even go and check a watch or nothing. It's perfect.
So look, this is not an advert for Meliora, but this is what happened to me at Trees. I was chatting to Darren, who designed the app, and we were talking about when a band was on, and I looked at the paper clash finder around my neck, and it was really awkward. I felt bad. And by the time I got to ATG, the paper clash finder was in I got a copy as a souvenir, and I put it in my caravan, and genuinely the only thing I used was the app. So I am like 100% converted to the app. I think it was fucking great. If you want to, the bios aside, which we're not going to address now, but we will address for next year. If you want to just fucking look at a clash finder, the app was perfect. I thought they nailed it.
Yeah, I mean, really good at it. And I think there's still Mellora's Darren, his missus, and a couple of colleagues that and I think they'll get full-time jobs. So it's not like this isn't like BT. And it's not like everything's worked out or whatever. There are still wee glitches, and you see them on the groups always try to get on top of it. I mean, one thing that I'd suggest him as well is it always defaults back to the Wednesday, no matter what day you're in, which is that one click away. So guarantee by the next time he does an app for next festival, he'll have it ready that'll just load up into the day it is. But absolutely class. But we finished the pod, and I managed to get that sort of half a track at in different engine, who sounded great. But as much as the jokes about Sugar Horse, I'm a huge Sugar Horse fan, and we went and caught them for, I mean, great banding in that last track. Basically the one in support of Palestine was absolutely brilliant. I missed a Swarm of the Sun. I think we went back to get breakfast or something. Got in for Low, because that's the guy from We Lost the Sea, who his other band thought they were great. Went from Low to see the Carlos Cowboys. I mean, they're just such a fucking great, but hypnotising. And then I went I was standing at the barrier, and Liam from Hidden Mothers was there. He's like, he's staying at the end, and you know, if somebody does that, there's clearly something happening with Liam at the end. I am now. So he was away up there doing the Enter Shikari, Sorry I'm Not a Winner. And that was it was brilliant. It was so much fucking fun. I mean, absolutely hypnotising. Then I really needed to eat, because I never ate much over the weekend, and Louis Bruce said I had to go and try this taco place. I heard the entire of Royal Sorrow from the taco queue, because it took 40 minutes to get served. That's not a complaint. It just happens when you're trying to get lunch at the same time as everybody else. Thought they sounded great. And then I went and had my tacos at the VIP bar with Louis Bruce, and heard every second of Sleepy Time Gorilla Museum. So let's just put a wee full stop there, and was it everything you wanted it to be, Sleepy Time Gorilla Museum?
I mean, it was more mad than I could have even imagined. It's fucking crackers, right? Absolutely crackers. But yeah.
So what's happening on stage with them? Because I'm hearing that, because I'm literally beside the main stages, so I'm hearing the full set, but I can't see anything.
I mean, they got their faces painted. They're older than us, I would say. They've been around for a long time, and they are. It's kind of like, I hate the word wacky, but it's fucking mental. I just cannot quite understand what I was even watching. Having listened to their album, which is also crackers. So yeah, it was a lot.
It's a lot. I had too many drinks with the We Lost the Sea guys. I am not the biggest between the Buried and Me fan. They are. They sat, half of them went to go see Between the Buried and Me, and then terrorised the other half who didn't go, telling them the songs they played. And I'm sitting with them at the time going, I can't believe they played Alaska. Oh my God, it was the weirdest experience seeing this band who were desperate to see a band but couldn't leave the table with their drinks. So that was it. And then I'm not going to get into the bands, but I'll just tell you I'll finish my day. Roll Tomasi, Chef's Kiss, Abadi Shashank. I don't even know how I found myself in that tent. Had so much fun watching those guys. Clown Core, we can discuss. And then I had God as an Astronaut to watch, but first I ended up thinking I tagged that on with Sally Baker, Bry's best pal, through God as an Astronaut outside the tent, and a chunk of Tesseract where we were really just chatting and having a bit of a cry about Bry. So that's how it kind of ended for me. So I crammed quite a lot into that final day, and over the weekend I feel like nothing like 84 bands, but I definitely get my money's worth for the weekend. There was a lot of music that I saw that was absolutely sublime.
Good work, thanks mate. Yeah, I mean, I nearly broke myself watching bands. I feel like there was some weird collector in me, some weird geek part of me, which was it really clicked in. It was I haven't got a 6-year-old in tow like I had at Trees. I am just going to watch bands, and I mean 84 is a lot, and it took a lot of dedication to do that, and then basically, so it wasn't really until 11 p.m. that I properly socialised every day. But overall for me, I feel like it. Maybe I would say this, but I think it was a great ATG. There's some ArcTangents at 2018 or 19 where it finishes and everyone's been absolutely battered by the wind and rain. And you're like, fuck me, is anyone ever going to come back to this? There were some great sets, but we were all cold and we were wet. Even the organisers in a caravan are fucking cold and wet and miserable. And this year was just so fucking great. I think mostly we nailed most things. Like there were a few complaints and stuff, but I feel like I had quite a lull after the festival when I got home. Like I was quite broken. Me and you've spoken a bit the last few days, and now I feel like energized and fucking excited by it. And I'm ready to go again. So I wanted to talk to you about the breakdown. So essentially, what happens is we go massive on the last night. We don't think about what's happening on Sunday. People like my brother, they knock it on the head at a sensible time, and they are up early and they're putting down the fencing and making sure that, because what happens at a festival is the marquee company and the pit barrier company, they want to rip out early, right? So they are just tearing shit down, and there's still people queuing for breakfast, which is a bit of a health and safety thing. So you have to try and control all this. But I go to bed at 6 a.m. and merrily I'm unaware of this, and my body does this weird thing where I am from May or June, I'm on like this heightened alert. Like I cannot fucking lie in. I'm like, there's a level of like, I don't know if stress is the right word, but I'm
shit to get done.
Yeah, and I'm really on it, and I can never quite fucking sleep. And then as soon as ATG, it's not the same when Trees finishes. When ATG finishes, it literally has all finished, and my body just goes poof. So I like wake up on that Sunday, and I'm like conscious of the fact that people are out there working. So I go and meet them for lunch, right? And I'm not in a good place. It's not an impressive version of me that is at lunch with all of our staff and our crew. And my brother's kind of in charge that day, so we dish out the jobs. And my job is to go with a team and pick up the track mats, which are fucking heavy, right? It's like a 2-person lift. It's quite a brutal job, and there's 180 of them spread all over the festival site. There's some in the car park, there's some at each stage. And we're like, I think the reason people stay for breakdown is because it's fun. And I was really conscious of the fact that on that afternoon, I was not fun, and I was really like just a shadow walking around. And then at some point about 2:30 in the afternoon, this radio call came in from event control, who are still open. They're just about to close. And the radio call said, can everyone, all crew, come urgently to event control? No more information. So it's like fucking adrenaline through the roof. I'm like thinking, it's like someone has either crushed themselves under a telehandler, but why would they be asking for all of us to come? It must be a terrorist attack. I'm like, I don't know. So the 6 or 8 of us that were working together piled into this buggy, and we fucking belted it along to event control. We get to event control, and they're like, there's a missing person. So I was like, could you have just said there's a missing person? I've had fucking 3 heart attacks on the way here. So we're like, and what we need to do is we need to go and search for them. They are properly missing. And by about 2 p.m, at Trees and ATG, the festival's empty, right? There's really no one left. So they were assigning everyone to different areas of the site. So we got assigned to the campsite. So we went out into the two big general campsites, and we were literally driving from tent to tent and shouting this guy. Let's call him Theo. It's not his real name. We were shouting Theo's name at random tents, opening tents. We were going through all the glamping tents, opening doors, looking for this guy. And his friends, because I think his friends had wound event control up to be like, this is really out of character. We'd lost him. So I was in full-on panic mode. We drove into the second campsite, and we were driving right into the back of it. And the first thing we see is a woman taking a shit in the hedge. So I think she wanted some privacy. So we kind of veered away. We looked in a few more tents, and then we came back round again. And there was this group of tents, and we drove up to them, and we're like, is there anyone here called Theo? And the answer came back, it depends who's asking. And then someone opened this tent door, and fucking Theo, right, is lying on his back, and he's got a girl on top of him. And they're kind of clothed-ish. And I was like, mate, there's 45 people out there fucking searching for you. So Dinah was in the pig field. She got chased by pigs. Simon was in the fucking stinging nettles and got stung. Like, there was a team of them. You know, we've got the shit lake at ArcTangent. There's a team of them fucking looking in the shit lake thinking this guy's face down in the fucking lake. But no, but he is just lying in a tent quite happily with a lady on top of him. And I said to him, mate, seriously, we're fucking all out there looking for you. Your friends are shitting themselves. They're at event control. He didn't even stand up. He was like looking at me. He was just looking at me. He didn't say thanks.
Did he know who you are? Did he give a shit?
No, he did. So one of the people that was there knew who I was. I don't know if he did. They didn't say thank you. He didn't say sorry. He was just like, no shit's given. So eventually I was like, right, okay. So we drove back to event control and his mate's there. And his mate's like, can you give me a lift? And I was like, seriously, this guy needs a fucking punch in the face when you get back because he doesn't fucking care that we're all running around. So I dropped him off. I mean, he's literally lying there with a boner fucking thinking life's great. I don't fucking care. These people, everyone has dropped their work. And I was like, we were worried.
And what time is that? Is that so? That's about
3 p.m. It's about 3 p.m.
So
yeah.
I mean, how long are you actually allowed to be on site? Are you not supposed to be off by that point? Like pack up your tent and go?
Yeah, but we're never vicious with the kicking people off. Before the end of the day, we never let people stay overnight. There's so few people. It's really weird because I used to go to like Reading and download, and you know there would be thousands of people still there, but everyone just wants to go. But this fucking guy, I mean, I said to him, mate, you're going on a podcast next week. It's like,
Theo, mate, you're fucked.
So that's not his real name.
It sounds like he was having a class time. For fuck's sake, man. Maybe just answer your phone next time, Theo.
Yeah. So that was a drama to say the least. But look, we had a really great breakdown. But the earliest we can ever finish, we finished at. So by Tuesday lunchtime, 99% of it was done. We actually told our helpers, we're done. You can go home. Thanks for your help. It's like after 18 years, when it doesn't rain and it's sunny and there's no wind, it's just so easy. We know what we're doing now, so we're very smooth. I actually I was there today, so I annoyingly, my wife and Dinah both sent Amazon deliveries to fucking Fernhill Farm, so I had to drive down there to pick them up today, and I went and stood in the middle of the field, you know, where all the stages are, and all you can see is I feel like there should have been a documentary maker with me. There was like I had a moment just standing there, just looking at it all like empty. It's just a field now. It's just grass. But yeah, it was quite nice. But it feels like weirdly satisfying that it's all done and over now. So yeah, we move on.
I mean, it's good. I mean, you were in a dark hole afterwards. I mean, I get it. You're getting baked and broken and trying to catch 84 bands and staying up to 6 in the morning. And but I mean, as I said in the message to you had 2 jobs this year and you nailed both, and all your teams nailed both. So get to the end of that. I mean, you need to allow yourself that hold. You know what? We fucking smashed it. All the shit that could have gone wrong, all the weather issues, all the tens of thousands that could have been cost more, none of it happened. We had 2 amazing years. I mean, financially, ArcTangent done what it needed to do as well. Yeah. Well, there's
kind of a question about this later, but yeah, absolutely. So we're feeling really good. And the one thing I regretted not doing on the live podcast is really thanking anyone. I don't think reading out a massive list of thanks is the way to go, but there are, from the marquee company to the merch team to the artist liaison team and our permanent staff, and just there are literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that make it all happen, and you never get a chance to thank them all, but we did it and we couldn't have done it without them all. So yeah, I guess a big thanks to everyone.
And from my small corner of the world, coming to ArcTangent, thank you to everyone who was involved and shown up at ArcTangent, especially after fucking 54 flights and having a big bell tent with 2 actual beds inside it. And then you've stuck in 2 bottles of Jack Daniels. It's a very, very welcome to our farm. It's absolutely class. So you go to Susie's and she sticks an extra sausage in because she remembers the guy for anyway. I watched Arab Strap and came out and get hit with it. Went in, it was roasting, came out and it was freezing, and my whole body temperature just dropped. And I was like, oh my god. Kev gave me a hoodie from the Big Scary Monsters guy who runs the merch tent. Absolute hero. I went in and says, mate, I'll take, if you get something in the back for the Oxfam, just throw anything at me to get a heating. I was looked after everywhere I went, and it was appreciated by all the staff, including yourself, of course, at ArcTangent. You've already slagged me off for it on the live pod, but anyone that did wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning stumbling out of James's caravan, I apologise once again.
Mate, I saw on the Two Promoters One pod, because on the, you were staying in a bell tent, right, which is set up by someone else, and they had name badges on them.
That's the worst thing ever.
I love that. You could have taken the fucking name badge off. I love the fact you left yours on, and someone had posted a photo of all the cans outside your tent. They were like, on day 1, this is how many cans Gav's got through.
That's and it was like 2 or 3 empty bottles of Jack Daniels, because I've got Fro camped beside me in a one-man tent, just sleeping in a coffin, and I've got Sam Law camped next to him, and then I've got Marshall camped next to us. But all their tents are just normal bog standard tents, and I'm in this 6 or 8 man effort for me and my brother with 2 proper beds you can sit in. So my tent just became the den for everyone, which isn't great if you're me. So for the very first night we get there, and it gets to, I'm very conscious when I'm in that field of where we are, because the tents beside us are the drivers for it's like drivers 1 and 2, drivers 3 and 4, and then there's something else. So it's like people walking there, and then there's a bunch of bands they're playing. So we got to there, it was like 4 o'clock in the first morning night, but Paul's still in the mood for partying, so he's like, oh, my brother never switches off the mood for partying, but I'm in the mood for going to sleep now. And I'm getting back and they're like, but then it starts to get louder and louder. I'm like, please guys, fuck off at my tent. It says my name in the front of it.
I've got my name on the tent.
It's got my, like, I can't just plead ignorance. It says my name in front of it, right? And I mean, it took me forever to get the fuckers at my tent, and then I was like, right, okay, there you go, there's that first night. The nights after that, to be fair, we were at different points, so it was never in my tent. But I tell you, sometimes you would go back and you would just get, I don't know who else is in that field, but maybe it was a band that were just a bit overexcited. You get folk that would just come back at 4 a.m. once the silent disco. Yes, Sheila, get him shagged, and which doesn't bother me at all. You know what I mean, but it just reminds you, you've got all these people sitting there like, I need to drive fucking cars tomorrow, or I need to go up and be part of a team on the stage, and I've got some guy shouting about shagging Sheila 4 tents away. It's like it's an odd vibe that bit, because it's half party with the artists up there and the half sort of I've got a job to do tomorrow with the staff.
Yeah, it's a weird campsite because you've got our crew from the setup in there who are not working during the festival, bands who are partying, and people who are actually, maybe we should have a quiet campsite. Yeah, so we got loads of questions. The questions were so good on the Facebook forum this week that it's going to kind of lead us through a bunch of stuff about the festival. But before we do that, we haven't got a weekly waffle this week, but talk to me about, you've been a busy boy on Damnation, haven't you?
Yeah. I mean, I want to keep on this ArcTangent track with this because I'm enjoying it. But I've got a quick recap of where we're at, and then maybe next week we can do a deeper dive into all things Damnation. But by the time this podcast comes out on Thursday, the complete lineup should all be there now. You would have had Devil Sold the Soul doing a set that's Darkness Prevails and A Fragile Hope, which will be world class. I mean, most bands would give a limb to have written either Hope or Like It's Your Last, and you're going to get both those tracks on that set list. It's going to be very special. Raging Speedhorn are doing the very first fan-picked set that we've ever done. We're going to use the app again. Another advert for Meliora. He's not even sponsoring the pod, he's getting adverts. So Darrow, I hope that I do not want to do that poll and have any shit come back for it, so let's make sure that that's all going to go swimmingly, and the fans will get a chance to vote for the tracks they want to hear from the Raging Speedhorn back catalogue. Today, which is Monday, we just announced before I came on here, Primordial, which is another sort of fan favourite, sort of ever present in lots of the big Damnation lineups within the year. So that's sort of 3 of the Sunday bands. There is 3 bands at least to be announced, which would be from where we're sitting now, it'll be tomorrow, but for you guys should have been 2 days ago. It's a Psychonaut, the Belgian band that James has a lot of time for. The wonderful Dinner Celestial Birds, you might also see in ArcTangent. And finally a band called Zero, who are supporting Death Heaven. Now, we don't normally pick up the tour supports, but this band I'll talk about them all later, because I'm going to put them on the record. But they are like they've got more monthly plays than both our headliners combined, like 700,000 Spotify plays, and it's like it just sounds like one of the bands you would see at Outbreak, and they probably are hugely popular. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to take a wee punt in this band. They're going to be in the bus outside anyway. I really like the sound of them, something a bit different for Damnation, so they'll also be announced. We have lost a band, a smaller band, and we've got one in to replace them. At the minute, that's a bit like. That news has it. I've only just found it myself. So the news hasn't broken, and it's got a domino effect, a tour around it. So that's been a bit of a shitter, but hopefully by the time this comes out, that will be explained. What I don't want to do is say, this is a band we've lost, this is a band we've brought in, and then by the time it gets to Thursday morning, that agent's not got his ducks in a row, and I've just thrown him right under a bus. So don't worry, in a sense, it's not one of the bigger bands of the festival, but still is a band I was really looking forward to. So that's where we are.
Mate,
with
Psychonaut, fucking Psychonaut. I love Psychonaut. That's going to be great.
Mate, honestly, I think that third stage again for you is one of those ones where you could just go down and get yourself lost in that. I mean, band after band after band, there's going to be some absolute crackers in there. So, because even like, have you been keeping up with like you like Mesa? You also been keeping up with Castle Rat?
No, so I need to go. So Castle Rat are one of those bands that have been on my list. So I need to go in on Castle Rat. I mean, Mesa, I'm all over Mesa.
Yeah.
All over Psychonaut. I mean, fuck, yeah.
Castle Rat look like, I mean, they're on like front cover of Decibel and another European magazine. They're just one of these bands that just look like they're going in that direction and not stopping. So I'm very chuffed to have the lineups. The lineup's great. Ticket sales are fucking great. I mean, at the minute there's less than 100 tickets now individually for each of the Saturday and Sunday. Those will be sold out by the end of next month. I mean, probably quicker than that by the time the full lineup's done. Delighted to sell it both days. Then there'll be, I think there's less than 1,000 weekend tickets left. Like 80 tickets off outselling last year, where we are now, the 25th. And I mean, it's like we're still at 10, 11 weeks. It's phenomenal. It's been such a good year to put together. That extra day is just such a pleasure to have that headspace to go and not be so strict with every slot. So, great. I've been enjoying it. Thanks everybody for the support. One thing I said in the live pod as well, the amount of support through this pod, the people coming from Trees, ArcTangent, or maybe just through the pod initially to these festivals for the first time, is incredible. At least a dozen people said they were coming to their first Damnation this year through the pod or through its association with ArcTangent. So, delighted. Thank you so much for the support.
Yeah, happy days, mate. Happy days. So we also have we've got a tour on sale, right? Talking of support. So are you aware that I'm not on the tour sales email? So unlike the last tour, I have no fucking idea what's going on. So talk to me, Gav.
We can put you back in loop, James. You can get yourself looped in, okay? I mean, I don't get me wrong. The last few weeks, I mean, it's been a bit dizzy for me as well. I've not really. But the first date, the Brighton one, I think there's like 40 tickets. It's a small room anyway. There's like 40 tickets left of that. Let's get those sold. The Brighton, Cardiff, then Manchester. Manchester sold a shit ton anyway. I mean, that will probably sell out now. And it's even if it doesn't, I don't know, was it 250, 275 tickets already gone, something like that anyway for there. It's going to be packed. It's going to be a brilliant night. Cardiff, Wales, stand up. Let's see. I mean, we went to Bristol, absolutely packed the place. Apparently, Bristol and Cardiff share some sort of overlap with the audience. If the Welsh aren't standing up for us, if folk from Bristol come and join us in Cardiff the night before, and then obviously the opening night, which I think is the Thursday, is, in fact, let's get the right dates. Thursday the 11th of December, Brighton. 12th is in Cardiff, then the 13th, Saturday the 13th in Manchester. So we're back. Let's make this podcast great again, like Big Donald J. Trump would say, and come, let's go and have a ride. I'm really looking forward to this now. Really looking forward. I'm not apprehensive about it. It feels like a right Christmas. Let's blow off steam. Let's go and have a right good fucking laugh and enjoy going out and doing the podcast with a fresh plan and have a good one.
I genuinely cannot fucking wait. So there was with the break we've had on the podcast, there was a tour documentary that was done by Shifty. So that's not yet on YouTube. So this week we are going to put it on YouTube and we'll post it up. I think a lot of people probably saw it. I managed to get it when Gav was away. I managed to get it on the various social media platforms, but YouTube login was beyond me. So
yeah. Well, Shifty has it, and also listen, shout out to Shifty. You got last week's podcast, the live one, transformed and put onto YouTube because of Shifty, and this week's will be out because of Shifty as well. The guy, James's friend, videographer, guy who done that amazing documentary. I want to say thank you. At least 12 to 15 people have offered to step in and help us out. Obviously, James and I have no technical abilities. We needed Bri for everything. People recognise that, and we've been offered so many. I've not had a chance to get back to everyone who offered to do it because there was so many people said they would step in. Almost all of them volunteering, like not even looking for anything. And we're not looking for that. We're not looking to get like, oh, let's try and get people labour for free or whatever. It's at the short term, it's great. I mean, I hope this works out with Shifty. Shifty feels very natural with it. He's a good friend of yours. I've got to know him quite well. We was at the Manchester show. He knows what the podcast's about. He's a podcast fan. I mean, I hope things can work out with Shifty. He probably doesn't recognise just how much work it really is dealing with you and I. So we'll see how that goes. But in the short term, right now, I just want to say thank you to Shifty and thank you to everyone who did volunteer almost instantly to try and help us out, because otherwise there's just no way James and I are getting this out.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to tell Shifty while you were in while you're in Disneyland, like, we're not that easy to. We're nice, but we're a bit of a fucking mess. And like, as long as you're happy to sit up until 1 a.m. on a Wednesday night, then you'll be fine. But yeah, it's what day is it today? Monday. So he's getting a lovely introduction. He's got 2 days.
Most people would call this last minute. I mean, that's what Bri would have been like, fuck, what happened this week, boys? Just giving me 72 hours notice to get this out. So, brilliant. We'll see how things go. But it is nice to keep the continuity of somebody who's obviously gives a shit the way that Shifty clearly does. So, good man. He does have his own company. We said we'd give him a shout out. Is it Sean Hazel Films?
Yeah.
It shouldn't be me having to remember this, James. He's your fucking pal.
This should be in the notes. Who fucking knows? He's great. If anyone needs a video done for festivals, events, fucking podcast, turns out he's got a new line in podcast editing. He is genuinely really great at what he does. He's done a bunch of stuff at the festivals over the years. If you've seen drone footage from ArcTangent, it was Shifty's. He's amazing. He told me not to call him Shifty on the podcast, but we've decided to ignore him. Sorry, Sean.
There's another thing you're going to have to get very quickly used to. We do not take instruction from anyone, including each other. So, Shifty, you are the man. Right, let's get into a few of these questions. Josh M. Allen, how easy is it to brush off post-festival complaints, James? Do you have a process or do you just develop thick skin? I mean, here's the first thing, you're not asking this about Damnation. I don't interact or look at social media at all over the weekend of Damnation because I know it can put you into a downward spiral of depression, and it's usually you had to wait too long in the pizza queue, somebody stood in front of the queue, one of the toilets were leaking, shit, and 10 minutes later the person doesn't care about, but you end up processing all about. So I just keep away from it all entirely. And when I'm at ArcTangent, I went to ArcTangent with big dreams of you and I getting a picture beside the podcast thing and getting the merch up, and me and Paul getting a picture beside the Damnation advertising and doing stuff for, I don't know, try to log back into the TikTok, whatever. I done nothing. I never used my phone at all. In fact, the guys in We Lost to Sea were going crazy that what they kept sending me voice notes and then I wasn't reading them until like 8 hours later. I love going to a festival and just fucking leave my phone at the side. I didn't see a lot of complaints about ArcTangent, but I did hear the odd person tell me stuff.
Yes, I actually made the mistake of a couple of times, either late at night or early in the morning, lying in bed, flicking through Facebook, not looking for ArcTangent stuff, just like the natural, like I'm going to doom scroll for a bit and seeing a couple of things, and it does bum me out a little bit. I'm way better at it than I used to be. I'm much more level-headed about it. I mean, the question is, did people mostly have a great time? I think the answer is yes. I mean, are there some tweaks we can make? Also, yes. I think the nature of social media is that it amplifies the negative. So if you really look, there are very few complaints this year. And sales for next year have followed trees. I mean, Simon sent me a message this morning with a sales graph, and it's fucking wildly. It's like 45% ahead of where we were this time last year. We're a week in. I think we've done. Just want to get this right. We've done half of this year's sales already for next year. So we're like 50% sold. I mean, it's all great stories which you don't get if you run a shit festival. So I'm okay. As we got more successful, more people come. That means you will have more people moaning. And if you do a good job one year and a less good job next year, whether it's on campsite space or toilets or the temperature of the water, basically some people will have their say, and that's absolutely fine. And actually, moving on to the next question, which is from Martin Porter, he says, why were people complaining that VIP was rammed? Too many tickets, or were people taking too much space as they felt entitled to because it's VIP? So this is one of the few stressful things that happened to me during the festival. So we've got a WhatsApp group with our social media team, so they are monitoring socials, and if anything gets a bit out of hand, they tell us about it. And they kind of alerted us to a few grumbles about VIP camping being rammed. So I radioed Rob Safety. He said he'd go and take a look. He had a walk down there, and he radioed back saying it looks a bit full. So I was like, fuck, that's not very good. So I went down there with the Power Tool crew, and we were so behind the main stage, it butts onto VIP, and we were about to rip the fencing open and make a whole new bit of camping behind the main stage. And as they were about to open the fencing, I just stood on a fence block and looked over the top. And I was like, that's weird. That's not full. And it's like, yeah, I could see like a 15 metre by 40 metre strip of empty grass, which would have fit like 30 tents in it. And I could see another strip of grass, and it was like, it's not full. The problem is people don't know, and they don't know where to look. And of course, we know the site plan. We've stared at the site plan all year, and we've staked out the campsite. We know where it all is. But if you have to remember this as an event organizer. If a person just comes into a car park, parks up and walks in and is met with tents, they're like, this is fucking full. And what you actually need is staff there saying to them, don't worry, it's not full, go down there, go down there. So we quickly sorted that, and we sent some stewards up there. And I don't know, there will no doubt be a few people who had a shitty time because they ended up putting their tent in a fucking really rammed place, and that is not good. So I think the question we have to ask ourselves next year is, how many VIP tickets do we sell? Do we need to find more camping space for VIPs? What are VIPs actually paying for? Like, if you buy a VIP ticket, what is it for? Is it the nice chill out bar space? Is it the really close access to the arena? I mean, a 2-minute walk between your tent and the arena? Or do you feel that as a VIP, you should have acres and acres of camping space? Like a massive field that is way too big and everyone's got loads of room. So that's quite a difficult question to answer. I think it's tricky, but it's the main thing that we will look at for next year. I don't know what the plan will be yet.
Yeah, okay. Thomas Long, any feedback, comment from Bloodstock in regards to the leprous announcement? Okay, so I mean, I'll tackle this from the outsider who was there and not involved in this leprous situation. I thought the entire thing was a storm in a teacup that landed at very poor timing for Bloodstock, and it was sort of weaponised a wee bit by people who had an issue with Bloodstock about other issues, namely Slaughter to Prevail being booked, and then went too far on our platform to attack, in particular, Vicky Hungerford. So, at the time, when you said it, I was like, this is what we do. It's a technicality and exclusivity. It's that grey area. How it is an exclusive to the end of the year, to the next festival. Why were you sold an exclusive if it was going to get announced beforehand? And then it's not like, I mean, I think at one point you said, I'm rolling the ball out and we'll wait to hear Vicky's more than welcome for Vicky's reply. And before the podcast had a chance to be published, people were contacting her. Someone especially contacted Vicky and said, why did you betray? He used the word betray James. And it all got a wee bit cynical stuff for there. It went south quickly for what we were talking about. And this Leprous thing, that, let's be fair, I think that me, James and Vicky and everybody else involved realise no actual fan gives a shit about when Leprous were or weren't announced. Like, we don't think for a second that any fan gives a shit whether a band in your main stage get ground transport in the deal, or whether they get an extra cabbage in the fucking rider. But that's what we talk about. We talk about the stuff from a promoter's point of view. So, but we'll talk about exclusivity, or you were talking about exclusivity for that, and then it went south quite quickly because people were getting pretty nasty towards Vicky, and it's just not about Leprous. They're getting nasty towards Vicky because people on the internet do not like fucking Vicky. There's people out there that just have it in for her through past comments that they won't let go. And now with Slaughter to Prevail being booked, there is a new wave of hatred towards Vicky, and our podcast of this situation with the Leprous and your comments on that shouldn't have then been turned into, like, you don't call somebody a cunt because they announced Leprous a few days earlier, whether they should have or don't. No one cares about it that much. So it got unfair quite quickly. The first I heard about it is I saw Vicky's Instagram, and then it was like, here's comments, thanks very much for Two Promoters One Pod group as I'm trying to enjoy my holiday. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And then it was horrible comments in our group, which I quickly deleted. I'm going to have a bit of context with the whole Vicky Hungerford situation from my point of view. I haven't spoken to Vicky in a couple of years, and about 2-3 weeks ago she reached out to me to say she was sorry to hear it about Bri, which I thought was a touch of class. And then that was that. I never really heard anything else until I saw these posts. I spoke with Vicky and I explained the situation, and she, at this point, was like, I feel like there is a negativity towards Podstock from the groups of ArcTangent and Damnation. That may well be the case. We're not responsible for that. I feel like there's also, if we make any comments, I mean, I make digs about everything, and we can come across sometimes like elitist pricks with our taste in music, because we're elitist pricks with our taste in music. So when she's booking Trivium and Judas Priest, I'm shouting about Dim Skewer and Overhead the Albatross. So it's easy to be like sneering at Download Lineup and Five Finger Death Punch and Disturbed and Shinedown. But I don't mean it as a personal attack. It's just like that's what we do. That's kind of the point. That's the sarcasm with it. So I think, and I'd say to Vicky, I think that people are getting back to you and saying, oh, any time you hear anything, us being, or me especially, being a bit like snippy about fucking power metal or larger festivals. But I don't know how often it's getting back to you. Like when we talked about it in the live pod, James talking at length about how much he appreciated Alan showing him about backstage. I don't think it's ever back to you about me saying that I thought you were an engaging podcast host and I started the fucking podcast with you to do that. I feel like sometimes it's just the wee snidey stuff that people want to point score online for their own fights rather than what we're doing. Ultimately, I'm sure if you went back and listened to previous episodes, when Bloodstock sold out for this year, I was the person to say that's a fucking amazing news. Not because I'm like, oh, personally invested in Bloodstock or Vicky or the team, but because that's great for all of us. You're going to have a fan that goes to Download that filters through to Bloodstock. You're going to have a fan that goes to Bloodstock that filters through to Damnation. You're going to have a fan for Damnation that filters through to Incineration or Fortress. And then you go to a Fortress website or an Incineration, right? You get people that are snippy on them about Damnation because we're the bigger boys. We're the ones that are like, oh, look at the idiots booking pick a band that it's just not cult enough for them. So I think you get a bit of that, and also there's just a pre-existing dislike from some people towards Vicky that's, unfortunately, she put it herself, she could go into a burning building and save all the cats and she would still come out and they would call her a bitch. You know what I mean? It's like, I can't control how people view other people. So I'm sorry the way that was the Leprous situation was turned into something to attack Vicky online. We've sat in this podcast for a year and a half now and said we're just people behind a keyboard putting on these festivals. It was unfair then to see the exact same people we'd say that to turning on someone else and using our podcast platform to attack them. And that's it. I don't give a shit about the leprous situation, personally. I'm a bit like, it's one of these topics that we talk about. It's like, and I noticed there was this sort of grey about like, oh, here you're on, and we're sharing private video. Listen, I'll tell you, me and Vicky were a lot closer when we were doing that podcast. She had an amazing story about a band that pissed her off on stage, or took the piss out of Bloodstock, and they all went in and took out everything in the dressing room and left the light bulb in. I know who that band is. I've never said that. She told me fees for headline bands. I've never, ever abused that trust. I've never abused that trust of other organising. Just because we're talking about something that was public facing, which was a leprous exclusive, that suddenly wasn't, is very different from us sitting here like, do you know the amount of shit that we know? The headliners for festivals next year, for festivals the year after, deals that are going to be done, tours that we never mention because it's no one business. It's part of the industry chat. Hundreds. But that's not what we're doing. That's not what this situation was either. And I think it all just snowballed, as I say, because people have an issue with Slaughter to Prevail. And I know we've been asked a couple of times, like, well, how do you feel about Slaughter? I know nothing about Slaughter to Prevail. It's fucking generic radio metal. And two things I know about that is they like a big wall of death, and the guy tried to be an MMA fighter because I saw a video of somebody punched him in the face, and that's all I know about Slaughter to Prevail. They clearly sell tickets as well. I don't give a shit about Slaughter to Prevail, whether the guy's a banger or not. So I can't give you an answer how I feel about it because I don't care.
No, I'm not wading in on a Slaughter to Prevail either because I know nothing about them. I definitely think people should stop being mean to Vicky. I mean, doesn't matter what festival you're booking. If you're booking Download or Reading or any of the others, like they're just like human beings doing it, right? People don't know her. I fucking hate the fact that you can't make a mistake in our industry and then move on from it and fucking learn from it. And there was that stuff that happened a few years ago, and people are still giving us shit from it. So let's not do it from the two promoters one pod thing. We're not like that, right? We're not like that here. Let's not be mean to Vicky. Having said that, with regards to the leprous exclusivity, I nervously listened back to the live pods to see what I'd said, and I didn't really say too much to get excited about. I don't think my exclusivity was 100% broken. And so what I said on the podcast is what I'm still saying now. I don't want to fight with Bloodstock. I think Bloodstock's a brilliant festival. The last time I went was in 2021. I had a great time. And as I said, Alan was, Vicky's husband, Alan, was a fucking legend to me. So we're not having a big beef, are we? It's all fine.
It's all fucking fine. Do you have any merch stats?
I do. So
how's that carried?
Chris Carriad Chris says some merch stats will be cool. So because Kev, who runs our merch, is a massive legend, I can message him on the morning of a bank holiday and he will give me some stats. So here's the stats. 84 bands sold merch and every single one of them sold something. The top 5 this year, are you ready? Number 1. Do you know who it was, Gav?
The best seller of the whole festival. Hit me.
We Lost the Sea.
I want to go on record right now. Like, sometimes you don't need an opinion. Some things are just objectively true. We Lost the Sea are a big deal in the UK. Can everyone wake up to this? Can like agents and promoters and bookers wake up to the fact that We Lost the Sea are a big deal? Stop the pish. Biggest bestseller of the week. I mean, fuck me, man.
That's good news, right? Number 2, Rolo Tomasi. Number 3, Tesseract. Number 4, the Callous Boys. And number 5, Green Lung. Rolo sales were double what they'd expected, and it allowed them to book the flights for the UK shows, for the US shows. So and actually, We Lost the Sea told me, I want to tell you exactly what they said, but let's just put it as it made a big difference to them. Like, it's fucking expensive coming from Australia to do a couple of shows. So it made a huge difference. Like, people buying the merch of these bands are funding the future stuff that they can do. And just can I say, you probably not seen it in the back of there. This was a beautiful Maybe She Will t-shirt. 35 bangers, right? And Maybe She Will are a band who do not try to milk you for the rights. This is just a quality blank
in a well done print. I said to John, 35 bangers, mate. It was only 10 years ago we used to get Maybe She Will t-shirts for a tenner. So played my part and tried to keep that Maybe She Will tote up there too.
Good lad. So Kev sent me this. I'm reading out what he said now. Clowncore did exactly what you'd probably expect. They finally replied to our email at 3:37 p.m. on the day of their show, saying we have 4 shirts, but we can't leave the stage right now. So Kev sent a few people over to collect them, expecting loads of boxes. They returned a few minutes later with literally 4 shirts. 4 shirts, all extra large. And they wanted to sell them for 60 quid each, a price that Kev managed to argue down because it's double what ATG and most bands were selling. And those t-shirts sold out in less than 10 minutes, which we'll talk about Clowncore later. But when you've seen Clowncore, there is something fucking hilarious about the fact that they just rocked up with 4 shirts. I mean, it's pretty mad because they could have walked away with thousands. Like, if they'd engaged with Kev, he would have organised the printing of their merch, the shipping of their merch. It would have been on sale for 4 days and they would have made thousands. But, you know, this is how bands roll. So on the day of the day before the live pod, I messaged Rob Safety and was like, have you got any stats for me? And he spent a lot of time going around all the teams to get some stats. And on the day, I felt like it didn't really work on a live pod. So I benched it, which must have been well annoying for him. But they're interesting. So I just wanted to, I think it gives you a level of understanding of what goes on behind the scenes. So I'm just going to read them out to you. Power, sound and light. There were 18 tons of technical equipment delivered, 145 technician days on site, 5 kilometres of power cable, 8 40-foot Arctic trucks of technical kit came in just to do the sound and light. Shout out to the sound. It's the best feedback we've ever had for the sound at ArcTangent. I thought it was pretty much flawless everywhere. Security, average number of crowd surfers per set was 32. The customers taking photos with Mustache Jack 4. I don't know if you know that guy, but he's like a minor celebrity now. There were 1,647 hours of security time on site. Wi-Fi, and these guys need a big shout out because they're there nearly as long as I am. They laid 3 kilometres of fibre cable, 6 kilometres of Cat5 cable. There was 1.37 terabytes of data downloaded and 2 terabytes of data uploaded. And finally, water. 20,000 litres was stored on site. 3.5 kilometres of water pipe around the site. 250,000 litres of water was used over the weekend. I often take the piss out of Neil for being punchy on his quotes, but him, Sam and Tom, like, they do an incredible job. And when it's hot, it is squeaky bum time. We had to turn the showers off at one point because the people just, like we said at Trees, they're fucking washing their Doc Martens in the water. They're washing their hair in the water. Every water tap has just got people just fucking spraying water everywhere. And finally, there are Rob Safety wanted me to tell you, there are 324 pages of health and safety paperwork. And Darryl wanted me to tell you that there are 854 square kilometres of stage decking. So there's a fucking lot going on, right? There is a lot going on. Okay. So,
and there you are, it's 6 a.m. fucking pissed in a barn. So, talking about, because a few things I read, like, oh, was it too busy? Was it too quiet? It didn't seem as busy as it was last year. Seems busier than it was last year. That whole perception people get for what set they saw, or where they were, or how they were camped. So, let's get it. Adam Robertshaw. ATG felt quieter this year. He's not complaining. The vibes were still immaculate, but it was nice to be able to move around without feeling crammed in, able to get food and a beer without having to queue. Like my perception, I went to a place that took me 40 minutes, the exact opposite of what Adam went for. But were sales of tickets, beer and merch still good enough to have a healthy future for the festival?
So the one thing that we've got good at over the years at both festivals is you can move the traders in and out based on, you know, you can get, like at Trees, we get bigger and you just give people a little bit more space and they don't actually notice you've got a little bit bigger. Sometimes they do, but often they don't. an ATG wasn't exactly the same site layout this year as the previous, although it probably felt exactly the same as a punter. Look, it was I think I've said this before on the pod, it was our second biggest ever year of ticket sales. We were about 5% down on last year. 10th anniversaries are always the fucking one. Hopefully you'll find this with Damnation this year. And next year you'll be like, I wish it was the 20th anniversary again. It's like, it's just the way it goes. I think day tickets were slightly slower this year. And what that means is that the main stage in particular feels less busy, because like the Meshuggah day was fucking like, you got more than 1,000 people coming in just to watch Meshuggah. So it really makes the tent big for that in the Meshuggah years. So yeah, we were happy with the set. We were really happy with the sales last year, and we were pretty happy with the sales this year. And next year looks fucking amazing. So the future's 100% bright. Don't forget, everyone, this podcast comes out on Thursday, and you've got a couple more days to use the Pod 10 discount to buy the ArcTangent tickets. I saw a guy sharing the Pod 10 discount on Facebook today, and Lose Brews called him out. Do not fucking share the Pod 10 discount with people who don't listen to the podcast. There will be no Pod 10 discount next year if you share it with everyone who doesn't listen to the fucking podcast. Stop doing it.
Don't be that guy. Do not be that guy.
No. Okay. John Gandy says, obviously you had good and clear reasons for not having Elephant this year, but was there a moment when you missed it and wish you'd been able to have the fifth stage? Did you have any feelings on this at all, Gav?
Yeah, I mean, did you get a dog in the spare time? Is that your neighbour's dog?
That is out in the... Mate, that is fucking outside. I can't control that.
See, these mics are good. These mics are good. I do have a strong feeling on it. I feel like it's much better without it. And I felt like it was just so clear in your mind to just go, these are my two clashes. What am I deciding? Am I getting my foot here? And I don't feel like, I feel like we're at that fifth stage. It just puts an unnecessary hurdle in your mind for where you're going to go, and what you're going to half and half, or are you going to third a set. And I mean, I've only done it a couple of times. Last year, Amin Ra and Talkie Horror was one of the ones that springs to mind. That I feel like you're getting as much as you need to get out of the thing that's there. So, and I read a lot of comments that said the same, that it wasn't particularly missed, and people felt it was just a cleaner setup without it.
Yeah, I was worried. Obviously, I was worried about making the announcement. The announcement went down really well because of the podcast, I think, but then I was worried about going to the site and really missing it. And as a booker, yes, I miss it. Like, you're enjoying having an extra day at Damnation this year. It gives you so much more freedom. An extra stage gives me more freedom. But as a consumer of festivals, definitely didn't miss it. Like, as someone who watched 84 bands, I definitely didn't miss it. I feel like it's splitting your time too much. That it's not like ArcTangent isn't Glastonbury, where the genres are so wide that it is wide, but also you don't need three stages on at the same time. I think the anxiety of clashes as well. Like I'm like, fuck's sake, I don't, you can't, when bands are playing 30-minute sets early in the day, you don't want to be trying to third 10 minutes, not including the walking time. It just doesn't really work. So I'm surprised to say that I actually think the correct number of stages at ArcTangent currently is 4. It is 4. The Elephant stage is definitely not coming back next year. Who knows in the future, but I think the key for me as the booker is to ensure that it stays eclectic. So you still have the Merrill Streaks, the real left field choices of up and coming bands that would have been in the Elephant stage, that this year was like Tane and the Merrill Streak spread out elsewhere. So that will keep coming back, definitely.
Good. No, I liked it, and maybe that's a part of feeling a wee bit more space on site as well. I mean, was not having that. I mean, I assume that space that was taken up by there, but it was now available for traders and space for people to walk about in.
Yeah.
Which is a healthy bit of space. Good. I quite like the way it was done. You don't want to have too many choices, just a lot. Robert Smith. With less stages at ArcTangent this year, it felt like the Bixler yokai slots were definitely well attended, with yokai in particular pretty packed, with lots of folk outside. Is an increase in the yokai tent a viable option, or too expensive and practical? And I have to say, I always get into yokai for no matter who I went to see, and I was there a lot, but it was nice to always see a nice healthy crowd in there.
Yeah, so for me, busy tents create atmosphere at a festival. I thought we got it about right this year. So there were no sets that I went to out of the 84 where you couldn't get in the tent. There were sets where people were watching outside the tent, but there was loads of space in the tent. So if you want to just push through the little, they call it the crust. There's some like academic theory on like stages. Eventually there's a crust of people. If you get through that first 5 rows, there's loads of space in the tent. So, and like in 2018 or 19, when Meshuggah headlined the main stage, and me and Si were stood on the front house, and we were like, fuck, this tent is not big enough. Like, there were people 10 meters outside the whole way round, and it was like, okay, we haven't got this right, we haven't got the numbers right, we need a bigger tent. I didn't feel like that this year. It might be nicer for people to have a bigger yokai, but do you want me to spend £10,000 on a bigger yokai tent? And get £10,000 less toilets or £10,000 more ticket price? Like how do you square off the budgetary things of 2025 and it being really hard to run festivals? So I think the tents were the right size, and look, the fucking chairs everywhere. Like, we'd have more room without the chairs, but let's probably not go there. And then the last question on this is Daniel Singleton was asking why the main stage was 6 udders instead of 8 udders. And look, the decision, again, was based on cost, and it was made at the same time as we got rid of the elephant. But I was actually worried that it wouldn't be busy enough. But I was in there for all the headliners, and the main stage was not too busy at any point. There was loads of room. So I think we're all good.
Yeah, before we get into some of the band-related questions, then shout out to ISO, who were on site, and when I saw them, seemed to having a rare time with their first proper ArcTangent experience. Those guys have been a class act in their support of the pod, and really could have had, I mean, they're too decent to ever have a moan, but the whole point was the build up to ArcTangent was to give them the plug to go and get there, and obviously circumstances didn't allow that. So I appreciate the understanding with that as well, although working with those guys, I knew that would be there for them. But please go and support them. I had a quick squint on their site before. They've got an Ozzy Osbourne collection there, everyone all with their tributes to Ozzy this year. Instead of paying 60 quid, 80 quid, whatever you're going to pay at some of these big festivals, $18.99, $17.99 for your Ozzy Osbourne. There's socks on there. You need some Ozzy socks? ISO merch, the place to go. Oasis, another place charging you fucking, I don't know, £1,000 a t-shirt, $18.99. Official Oasis merchandise that they've got. So go and check there first before you're paying the big bucks elsewhere, especially when they collection stuff like Sleep Token, Oasis, and they've got the new Between the Buried and Me album coming out there. Pre-order that. Pod 10 for those guys. Go and support them. ISO merch are a class bunch. I hope you guys had a great first ArcTangent.
Fuck yeah.
So, some band related questions. Did we I'm running out of tangent as well now because I've booked a few bands. Did you know in advance about the Clowncore visuals? And if not, what was your reaction?
I did not. I'm not sure what I was expecting, but it wasn't that. And so I took the whole of Channel 3 with me, all the Power Tool guys. I was like, let's go and watch it. We went and stood on the front of the house, and I said to Dinah, so Dinah, you know, she's like our she manages the office and the food, and she's basically keeps us alive for all of setup. And during the festival, some years I don't really see Dinah, but every year I give her a list of the bands that she should watch. And this year I was like, you have to come with me to watch Clowncore. You got to come. So we stood next to each other. I was like, this is going to be like a proper spectacle. And then suddenly it's just like fucking cocks everywhere. And I can only assume that Dinah's thinking, why the fuck has he brought me to this? And I didn't really know where to look, because I don't know how much of it you saw, Gav, but the crazy AI fucking porn thing that they did, where there is like, I think me explaining what I saw would make it worse. It was.
I mean, so I'll take up to that point. So I'm right. Okay, Chris Cloud Court. It's either going to be the greatest thing ever happened or the worst, right? So Xin gets me, Fro. Who else was this? I was standing about a few days, and it starts right. And honestly, see, in the first 5 minutes, I'm like, this is everything that I want, because. Not because I thought, oh, this is musically brilliant, or I'm feeling like, oh my god, can't believe that's got to be my new favourite band, but this is something I haven't experienced before. I'm in a weekend full of seeing a lot of stuff I've experienced before. I enjoy that. I love that, going to an event and just having something like boom. So I was at 5 minutes in, this is great, I'm loving it. 10 minutes in, I'm enjoying this. Let's say me 15 minutes in, I wanted a payoff. I wanted the boot. I wanted to go somewhere. I didn't want to go for 40 seconds and then stop, and then I started by a new dude. I mean, I was like, see if I had that bit, but then it went boom, and there was a wee bit where I'm fucking, I don't know, throwing the keyboards at each other or something. I'd have been like, yes, there's a payoff that I need with this Amstrad music, and it wasn't there. So I left the tent about 15 minutes in, and just as I was leaving, people going, what the fuck is that? I turned around and it was vaginas and cocks and fucking, it's 50-foot screen with giant cocks, and I was like, oh, I'm looking forward to the pod next week.
I mean, so I watched the entire thing. I'm gutted to say I missed KO Dot because I couldn't leave, because I was just like, what's going to happen next? And it was a sort of thing that you can imagine going to like the Tate Modern and seeing it as like a piece of performance art. They didn't, just watching them was mad. They didn't move. Like someone said to me, I think Ollie said to me, it must be really hard to stand that still. Like the fucking guy playing the saxophone did not fucking move. The drummer's not moving. Yeah, it's like his hands are moving. They're like so still. And it was just like, it was fucking crackers.
Was it just that one thing? And how explicit did it get? Was it just cocks and vaginas and boobs going about, or was there actual sex acts happening on stage?
Because the way they did it, people said it was AI, I don't know, but the way they did it, you couldn't. It flashed so quickly that you couldn't actually see what the fuck was happening. There were cocks going in and out of things, and fucking boobs and fucking vaginas, but you never really knew what the fuck you were watching, because it was on to the next thing. So I have no idea if I enjoyed it or not. Like, it wasn't all that, because they had loads of other stuff. Like, people were like,
some stuff it would just like said pain. But in a corner, there would just be like a red screen would just it said pain. It was like, was that what? I mean, I never stayed for that. We went and caught something else, but it was definitely that. By that point, going, wow, that's just got even more out there than it was before.
And there was a section where it was just like animals having sex, but it wasn't all sex. There was a section where people are like, I'm never eating a beef burger ever again. It was quite gross at times and funny at others, and it was just an experience. And like, I mean, there's no way of saying this without being pretentious, but as an art piece, it was fucking great, because it made me feel things. It made me, the guy who never feels things at my own festival because I'm too fucking stressed, to be like, fuck, they actually had me. I didn't half and half. I stayed.
Yeah.
And it was fucking
how obviously
weird.
the issue, now we get complaints when Celeste now, they had the video, and we did have a trigger warning at the start, and then obviously that sort of artistic, not to downplay any rape scene, but that whole guy being possessed by Satan, and then a rape scene, and obviously people not enjoying that, and we get some complaints about it, and then something happened. It was Electric Wizard. So there's 1970s style fucking bushy muffs and tits out for Electric Wizard. There was some complaints about that. And see, with that one, I was a bit like, no, I mean, I totally appreciate the Celeste complaints, and I don't know what was happening with Clown Course, so I don't really know how I feel about that. But with the Electric Wizard one, I was very much like, this is less than you would see in a Conan the Barbarian film rated at 12 or 15. It's like, this isn't hardcore. It's like, Dracula and Satan in it. I mean, it's an imaging, and if you're feeling that you don't want to see that, then that's fine. I'm not trying to say how your feeling should be, but at what point are you starting to restrict it? I mean, not having a 1970s model with some fucking candle wax getting dripped on is part of that. It's like, you know what I mean? It's another. If you saw that in Conan the Barbarian, you're not writing to complain to the director or Big Arnie and say, oh, by the way, that was demeaning to women. It's like, it is part of the art. It's no, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think, the Electric Wizard thing, which I managed to swerve talking about last year, so I do appreciate you bringing it up now, I think is complicated because there are scenes that are depicting, like they're like, if you want to look at it in like a clear way, they're scenes that are demeaning to women and depict rape, right? So you have to somehow justify that artistically, and I think Electric Wizard would no doubt have a go at doing that. I'm not about to do that for them. Clowncore is a different thing. Clowncore wasn't, what I don't think was offensive, really. I think some people are like, there are a lot of kids here. And my thing as someone who takes a 6-year-old to gigs and festivals is, as a parent, fucking, you have to, if you don't want your kid to watch it, leave the tent, basically. I don't think we should be, 1,000,000% do not think we should be censoring art because there might be a 6-year-old there. The parent is with the 6-year-old. You can take them out of the tent.
Is there some, like, so there's a promoter's responsibility and you should have trigger warnings and stuff like the beginning of that Celeste video, I don't doubt it. And also, I wasn't, like, I've seen the Electric Wizard stuff and I've seen the very soft porn version of it. I haven't seen the bit where any depicted rape, so I retract my statement.
And do you know what? I didn't see that either, so that may not even have happened.
If that is the case, I retract. I didn't mean like, when you see the witch at the back and she's got the boob out and the big fucking hairy muff, it's like, it's 1970s wizard porn.
No,
it's
sure.
like, it's not. But with that, is there some responsibility as a parent, if I'm taking Charlotte into, is there some responsibility for the band you're going to see having some sort of, if you're that sensitive to the issue, like maybe checking out what it's about, not just wandering into an Electric Wizard set where they've used that same footage from those films for 20 years.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And the thing with Clowncore is you could have, if you'd had, I wouldn't have sat there with my kid on my shoulders for the whole of Clowncore. I would have left. And I think that's okay. I think the band should do their art. I was not offended. I don't know. It was an experience. It was gross and it was fucking weird. And if some people are offended, I actually don't care if people are offended. Like, music's supposed to be fucking make you feel something, right? Yeah. And if it's that's all right. Being offended
isn't that. I mean, you can be offended with stuff. It's not the end of the world. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
so. It was a thing. Anyway, so moving on from that, Pavel Kondov says, which bands from this year showed the most potential to rise to future headliner status? So, look, Rolo Tomasi was outstandingly brilliant, incredible. The way they did the visuals, the way they did the light, how it sounded with the orchestra. I watched some of it from the front and I thought it was great and didn't get the full effect. And I went to the back of the tent on the front of the house. And I was just like, this is fucking amazing. This is like the best thing I've seen all weekend. Absolutely incredible. I went backstage afterwards and some of the band were pretty emotional about how much they'd enjoyed it. And I was chatting to James from Rolo and their agent Liam. And it was basically like, I think the general consensus was, this is the best Rolo Tomasi set ever. I mean, the agent's obviously seen a lot more than I have. It was the best fucking thing they've ever done. And it was amazing. And I only text 2 bands after ATG this year. Because I just don't do that. And they were one of them. Because I just thought it was world-beatingly incredible. Leprous, we talked about on the live show. I still get a buzz thinking about how good they were. Clearly a future headliner. I mean, we'll see what happens with Clowncore, because I don't know if they're going to do more stuff and they're going to do another thing. it's a bit like that Nordic Giants thing. It's like you've got your thing, like what's next? How are you going to take this to the next level? Like, because the visual thing is a big thing. Green Lung, I mean, mate, they would be a fucking great Damnation headliner. They're like, they're proper like rock stars when they play live. It's like fucking watching Bon Jovi.
I mean, like we would add that. We would add Green Lung to headline this year, just going to make it work. But that would have been, I think Green Lung are already worth a punt at that level, and hopefully just keep going on, and maybe our paths will cross at some point again.
I mean, watching them, you can see why they're big, right? Because they're just fucking. They've got a fucking show, and it's a big like fucking rock show, big stupid metal rock show. I love it.
And we lost the sea, obviously.
Absolutely. I mean, that would be great, right? So,
it would be. It can't always be. I mean, for these, it can't always be what Godspeed You Black Emperor, Mogwai, and Explosions in the Sky. That's your circle.
So we do need the new breed. I mean, if I was going to chuck one band in to who could headline in the future, it's the Callous Cowboys. You mentioned, I mean, they were fucking brilliant, right? And you mentioned that Shikari cover. So I watched the start of their set, and I went out the back of the main stage, and I don't know, I can't actually remember who I was chatting to, but I was chatting, and then someone had said to me before their set, "Do you know they're going to play a Shikari cover?" And I was like, "It's a fucking stupid idea. That won't work at ArcTangent. It'll be rubbish." And then the song's called "Sorry You're Not a Winner," so it's the one with the clap clap in it.
Yeah.
And I was chatting to someone, and the song started, and I was like, "Fuck me! I didn't know it was this song." And so I just ditched whoever I was talking to, ran into the stage, and watched it, and the crowd was fucking going for it. It was like, I mean, they managed to play an Enter Shikari song, and it was one of the highlights of the whole festival. So fair fucking play. I think one day maybe headliners.
They could keep going. Aye, absolutely brilliant. Okay, Stephen Shaw. What have we got? That's at half by. Okay, let's get a few more questions.
Do you want to have a wee break? Do you feel like we should have a wee break?
I didn't need someone just had that one can, but why don't we pause it for you, James?
I feel like you should get another can.
Jamesy boy, a Monday night. I mean, back on the sauce, because you came back, because you were like sitting in that dark hole and I'm sitting here, I'm trying to watch golf, and I've been crying into a pillow and I hate life again, and I'm like, and you finally come back today on a Monday night when I don't want to be having a drink, and now here I am having a wee Stouffer Press, which reminds me that these guys are no longer a podcast sponsor, but this is how big my heart is. We shout out to Stouffer Press. Bumped into James again, the guy from Weston's, and we've done the exact same thing, walking in directions to wherever we're going with our families or with pals and families, and saying, right, we'll catch up with you next time, we'll sit down, we'll have a talk, and we'll get a deal done for Damnation, and we'll talk about the podcast, and then never saw the guy again. So
right.
Look at the commitment to the cause here, James. Drinking on a Monday night just because James finally cheered up.
Is it a bank holiday in Scotland?
Mate, I don't difference to make to my life anyway.
Well, in England we use it as an excuse.
I know, but so what days? But the kids are still at school, so if it's a bank holiday, it's not a useful one.
Are your kids back at school? Fuck me.
The kids are all back at school, so aye.
Great.
Anyway,
lovely.
Okay. That's one.
Hit me with some.
You know what as well, James? I'm a bit like, don't go beyond 145. Don't go beyond 145. But we've not had a pod for 5 weeks out. And then when we gave the people a pod back, it was 47 minutes. So, you know what? If this ends up a 2-hour fucking behemoth, then go for it.
Absolutely. Shifty's problem.
It's Shifty's problem indeed. Right, where were we?
I think you're going to read Stephen Shaw's question, probably.
Stephen Shaw would love to know. James mentioned in the live podcast about he'd only missed a few sets. Which one was he most gutted about missing? And are they already booked for a Wednesday next year? Now, people know how you roll, James. If you miss the band, you just book them again. We're slipped off the 2-year wait.
Yeah, Sliff was great. Really great. Really fucking great. I only missed one band on Wednesday, and that was Calandra, and that was because you came in like a wrecking ball. So we saw each other, and I think we decided there are some things more important than watching bands, and we just had a little bit of a beer together and a bit of a chat. So I annoyingly missed Calandra. I missed Battlesnake and Tane at Trees and ATG.
that takes effort.
Which is fucking annoying because I obviously like them because I booked them for both festivals. The big one for me, the biggest one was KO Dot, who I just said Clash of Clowncore. I was totally going to watch Clowncore and then go to KO Dot, and I was just like, fucking, I'm not leaving this. So no plans for Wednesday next year apart from the two obvious ones. I am very close. I felt this like tingle in me about. It's such a weird job, like different bits of the year are different feelings. And whenever anyone's suggested a new band to me recently, I've been like, just fuck off and talk to me in September. And today, I think today was like the first moment where I felt excited about just getting into loads of new stuff. And someone sent me a Trees band. I was like, this is cool. I really like this band. Really small band. So I'm fully going in now. So Wednesday to be booked soon, I think.
Good. You hit me up with Pete. Am I just asking? I'm asking everything.
I mean,
okay,
mate, it's in brackets after the fucking person's name.
I'll host the podcast, mate. You just sit back and enjoy your Monday night. Pete Gillespie. James mentioned some of the pros and cons of having a more open Wednesday ATG, but he preferred the intimate, smaller tent version of previous years. Does he worry he's set a precedent now of accommodating Wardruna and punters may expect Wednesday to be much bigger in future?
Nah. We're not a 4-day festival. We're a party and then 3-day festival. It's supposed to be. I think the way we do it at Trees and ATG is the right way for what I want to create and what we want to create. I don't think bigger is better. I thought Wardruna was really cool. I'm not saying if someone offers me, after I've got my headliners next year, Mogwai doing their fucking debut album in full, obviously I'm going to fucking open the main stage, but I didn't feel like it was better. I've already booked some bands for next year. I've got my headliner for Wednesday. People are going to be excited. They've only played ATG, I think once or twice, and people will love them. And we don't need the main stage open on that date. It's not a cost thing. Although it did cost money.
Yeah, I mean, that's for a business point of view as well. Like, Wardruna's a budget-changing fee. It's not just a band you're adding in and saying, oh, they need a bigger stage because of production. So it's a budget-changing fee on a stage that you also need to open up for that day, which brings its own costs with the staff and everything goes with that. Was it the right business choice financially? Did you get what you needed from the Wednesday to make that work?
I think probably no. I think it's a really complicated calculation to do there. There's so many ins and outs that you can't actually do the calculation, but I would go for no. I think, when I ring Simon up and I'm like, this is what I want to do, he has to back my knowledge of the bands and think that it's the right thing. He's almost like, I know he's going to say yes when I ring him about it, and I don't think it was actually probably the right thing to do financially for us. But if we booked fucking, Tool to headline the Wednesday, it probably would. So one day, maybe we'll do it again. I'm not planning on doing it next year. It is totally off the table. I thought, because don't forget, we'd never done 2 stages before on the Wednesday. It was always just yokai. So we'd already added in the PX3 with a load of extra costs on artists and crew and production on the Wednesday. So that's I thought that worked really, that bit of the day worked really well. So that's my plan for the future.
Okay, James. Okay. This is also no, because I see it's for you. So this sounds weird if you read it to yourself. How much attention does James pay to attendance in certain sets, especially if the bookings are a bit out there genre-wise? And how much does that influence future bookings and similar styles? I'm really interested in this because I feel like this was a year where you had Mew, Clowncore, Arab Strap, I suppose Sleepy Time, Gorilla Museum. Bands that are really out there, even in the ArcTangent space, where you're a bit like, what ones do you look and go, fuck, absolutely nailed that, and what ones you go, that went okay, but probably no worth what it was.
Although the weird thing is, of course, if you're like, I fucking nailed Arab Strap, there's only one Arab Strap, so what do you do with that information? It's like
4 years time you go back and get them.
Yeah, so look, we've got cameras up in every stage pointing at the audience, and we talked about this before. Mitch will catalogue all of that, and he will give me a spreadsheet which says this band crowd size was a 5, this was a 4, 3, 2, 1. And I will spend some time looking at that, and we do our social media votes, which people should go to the ArcTangent Facebook page and vote on the bands they liked, because it will affect future booking. And ultimately, I sit there and so I pay lots of attention, but really I'm just staring at some data. Like, obviously I'm in 84 sets. So there were a couple where I was like, this is a little bit quieter than I was expecting. And there were a couple where I'm like, fuck me, this is a really good crowd. But how do you, in the process of watching 84 sets, how do you really process all of that? Like, I don't fucking know. So,
and you'll sit with a notepad going, tick, clown core. Actually, it came right to the sound desk and going, well, across Mew, because there was like 5 foot more space at the back of the tent. Because then you've got other factors like how strong is the band they're clashing with, what time of day is it against the lunch. Did one band cost you 80 grand, another band cost you 40 grand? So then having an extra 5 foot of space is actually worth it because you save 40 grand on one. I mean, it becomes a sliding scale of what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, and those bands that that create a mosh pit, the crowd's much more crammed in, so there is more room at the back. But those bands that like a fucking post-rock band, it probably isn't as crammed in. So I don't think too hard about that. We'll look at the camera footage. It will affect who plays on Wednesday next year. I'd hope that there'll be a couple of like smaller bands, or like, I mean, Dimskeer is a great example. It was just so fucking busy. I wasn't lying when I said it was as big as the headliners' crowd size. It was really busy. They're an absolute shoe-in to play Wednesday, so let's do that. And in terms of genres, I'm really trying to hit them all now. I've got my list of 9 or 10 genres, and I'm trying to hit all of those, and that will change from year to year. I mean, what the fuck do you do with post-rock next year? You know, we had Mogwai, Explosions, and some others last year. And then
you just had Godspeed.
And then Godspeed, Maybe She Will, God is an Astronaut, We Lost a Say. It's like we fucking completed post-rock in 2 years. So there probably are some others. There are some others, but they're not many. So
no,
I just don't know. Don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you asking all the questions now?
There you go. Lee Parton. Is it a conscious move over the last few years towards the heavy sludgy bands rather than the more twinkly emo math, which were prevalent in the earlier years of ATG? Or is it just there's more of that sort of stuff now? I think you've answered this question a few times, to be honest, over the podcast.
Yeah, we have. And the answer is, look, so I nearly had American football, before Godspeed, American football was like this close to confirming. So there's your twinkly. They are the twinkly emo math band, right? I've also got a band confirmed for next year who will make twinkly fans very, very, very happy. It's not American football. Ultimately, I do not want to book the same bands over and over. You might be surprised to hear that, but the bands that are active, like Russian Circles, releasing new music every 3 years or whatever, the people love. Armin Ra, people love. I will book again and again. But a lot of those twinkly bands have fucked off and done nothing. And there just aren't loads of them. What is it? It's like Toe, TTNG, American football. It's like there just aren't millions and millions of them that actually lots of people like. So I'm not going to force bands into the festival. I just don't feel like that scene is that strong at the moment.
Are you feeling a wee bit of pressure now with the 2 big solid lineups you've had the last 2 years and the big headliners you managed to get with them, that a bit like, fuck, where is the fresh space for me? Because I got Mogwai eventually in the end. I done something like way out there we were doing and I've also done that with Heilung. It's like, is it starting to get narrower and narrower and narrower? They're like, what options are still to happen for you?
Did I look too relaxed, Gav?
You look a bit too relaxed because I'm
This
thinking
guy
in my
needs
head,
to, we need to stress this
the
guy the
post-
fuck up.
Post-rock's been completed, right? That's off the fucking table. You've done the really weird high longs and Wildrunners.
No.
You've had them with sugar. It's like, I mean, okay, you're going to go back again and try Mastodon, again and try the Mars Volta, again. But if they come back and it's just the same nose that they've always been, then you're a bit like, okay.
But this time last year it would have been like, oh, it won't be Carnival. You know, it'll be Pucifer or Primus or Porcupine Tree or fucking Stephen Wilson, or there's still millions and millions of bands to go at, and you know, I don't stress myself out about it because I've been doing it for 18 years, and some years you're like, I could have been better, and some years it is it's the best you've ever done, but it's always fine.
There's no event in the world that the headliners mean less to me personally, and I think the vast majority of the crowd in ArcTangent. I think that ArcTangent's such a deep, being there at 11 a.m, watching Overhead the Albatross, going and catching a band called Drongo, and going to the third or fourth tent and catching, Meryl Street, having a busy day. It's like, OK, Tesseract, Carnival, Godspeed You Black Emperor, great sets, all big production and that, but you're a bit like, it's they take all, even Godspeed, who I love, take all those bands away from ArcTangent this year, and it's not really changed my opinion on how my weekend went, and that's the vast majority of your entire pots went there. So I don't know if that's a personal feeling I've got, or if you feel that, you, Simon, the rest of the team feel that's how your fan base is. But if that's the dream, isn't it? Like, alright, so Melvins are headlining one day, Roll to Massey are headlining one day, Clowncore are headlining one day, and now I've got an extra God knows how many thousand just to bury this lineup in class.
Yeah, and the thing is, you'll never really know. You know this. Like, headliners are important. Some people care about them. It does unite people at the end of the night. I thought, like, I don't think we've really spoken about Carnival much, but I thought they were really, really fucking brilliant. They know what they're doing. So you do want a headliner, but I'm not going to stress myself out. There's a fucking million bands out there. Now we've done Wardruna, and don't forget, you can have bands back. Explosions Work's coming back. You know, one day we'll probably have High Lung back. Yeah, don't know. I mean, in a few years' time, I'm fucking going Meshuggah again because it's Meshuggah. I'm chilled about it.
They'll be chilled. I'm just saying, like, I'm busy trying to make you panic.
Well, you have made me panic, Gav. So Liam Knowles, our good friend Liam Knowles, says, how did it feel this year to watch a band like Dimskewer or Overhead the Albatross and know that your podcast is at least partially responsible for their success? Is launching or boosting the band's career something you expected to do when you started the podcast? And do you currently have your eyes on any other new underground artists we should know about? I think you should answer this question.
It's a good question, Liam, because it was I mean, I've been shouting about bands forever. It doesn't matter if it's at the fucking campsite after a ArcTangent or a Download or a Bloodstock or a Hellfest, and it's a band. I'm just I'm that guy, the guy you're seeing here that's shouting about the Meryl Streets, the Julie Christmases, and the crippling alcoholisms. I was that guy before a podcast, and I do enjoy. I didn't think, I no way in any world did I think the impact that it's had this podcast and some bands would ever happen. I mean, that was a bit wild. I mean, saw a wee bit for people turning their heads for Meryl Streep when I said about them. Saw people tuning into crippling alcoholism after a lot of people, and I'm not trying to take credit like I'm the first person with it. I mean, Dimskewer's as close as you're ever going to get to like ground zero, and even that you've got Gary Davidson and my mate Andy Cattigan both trying to claim for credit before me, and then Lewis Bruce is telling me I posted about him before you. I'm like, I know, but no, because fucking no one's coming to Lewis Bruce for music recommendations. No, I mean, go make your fucking sausage sharp. So he's fucking trying to claim credit for that as well. So aye. The first time I really saw, I thought there was an uptick, a genuine uptick, was Overhead the Albatross. Came on in January. I was like, shit, I just missed this album in December. James, this is the fucking greatest thing that's happened to post-rock in ages. It's so exciting. And then obviously they're booked on to ArcTangent, and now look at them. It's like, how many people watched that set and they've got that fan base. And Dimskewer's the most. I don't think there'll ever be another Dimskewer in the sense of they weren't going to be a band. Like, they didn't have a bass player when I came on and started shouting about them. Like, there's an interview. Gary Davids has done an interview. It was like a 4,000% uptake in other streaming platforms. They get booked for ArcTangent by the end of the day. They went and got a physical CD done, had the merch done. I mean, and then you're there on the day and you're walking in and there is a wee bit of that, because you could walk in that tent and if it was slightly empty, like, okay, slightly empty, they've been a band for fucking 3 weeks or something, so it is what it is. But then it's absolutely chocolate, and then people are coming up to the end of like, you're the manager, or you're the bit like, they're coming up to you and going, by the way, fucking thanks for making that happen, and you're a bit like, it's not even about the false motive, like just pretending you'd never played a part just gets tiring to listen to people. I mean, like, oh, it's not me, it's you, it's not me. No, it was fucking me. I came onto a podcast with a guy who booked cheese and I said this is the best extreme metal that's happened in the UK this year, and the guy that I'm on the podcast, we went, oh, I need a band. I mean, there they are booked and they're playing to fucking God knows how many thousand. Everyone's wearing their t-shirts. I mean, they must have been somewhere on that, in that sliding scale, because there was so many fucking Dimscure t-shirts everywhere. That's all they had was a t-shirt and a CD, and you're like, this band are incredible. And in my head I'm like, well, what's stopping this band becoming the next Amon Ra, like the UK Amon Ra? Like, there's nothing but quality and depth to everything that they're doing. And fuck, that was the first book never had, and actually their third live show, and then came out still presenting it like that. I'm sure with a lot of nerves, but still presenting it like that. So it was an odd feeling watching Dimscure part-time. I kind of forgot about Overhead to Albatross. So when I was watching him, I forgot my link to it. I completely forgot I was on here singing a praise to you. I just thought I was watching a band that you booked for ArcTangent. It was only afterwards that I actually realised that I was the one that shouted about them to you. And We Lost the Sea is like one of those ones that, but even that, it's not like you didn't know who We Lost the Sea were beforehand. It's just, that's not an easy band to get. And I was coming in for Australia, and they got to the stage where they finally, it made it work. They were wanting to leave Australia. I mean, to fly from Australia to Bristol to play ArcTangent and go back, I mean, that's some commitment. That is some fucking commitment. So I'm glad that those sets went the way they did, and they sold a shit ton of merch, because I love those guys. I spent so much time with those guys. They're all fucking head cases, absolute head cases, and it was a great weekend with them as well. So, brilliant. Liam, it's all natural. I'm not going to premeditate a plan or like something like Dimscure's going to land in my lap one day, or like Meryl Streep, or like crippling alcoholism, and I'm going to get excited like a wee boy before Christmas, and I'm going to come on and blah blah blah, blah, blah about that band. I'm not going to Andy gets in touch with me, oh yeah, listen to this and you could go into the pitch. I'm no for sale, you know what I mean? Once I'm in my own terms, and when I'm in, it doesn't matter if you want me there or not, I'm coming for the ride. So that's how it is.
I mean, I was gonna downplay my role in this, but then when you talked about Dimscure and you downplayed my role, it made me want to upplay my role a little bit. It's like, he's like, oh yeah, and then James just booked him.
Right, okay. So for all the things you're getting all the credit for, what is it you booked him? So you booked him. I mean, but I could have been sitting going, you stole that. I should have been me.
Mate, I think you should take all the credit. I genuinely do. The weird.
It was like we're on stage, right, and I get more shout outs at ArcTangent than I do at Damnation, right? But when they go up, and I suppose they have to mention you as well, but they go up stage and they go, we'd like to thank Gavin James. They're like, what the fuck are you thanking James for? What the fuck? Mate, what's James done?
With fucking 4,000 people that are watching them, probably. Weird. So my answer to this question is that I feel like I've been doing this forever. It just hasn't been quite. This is what I get excited about. I mean, Unpeople. I mean, I can't remember where Unpeople played the other day, and I saw it happening. And oh no, that's right. I was watching the Reading Festival coverage last night, and Alex from Radio 1, she was like bigging up fucking Unpeople live on the BBC coverage, and I was just like fucking on my couch just being like, yes, it's fucking great. Like she's all about the underground and like bigging bands up, and now this band are getting it on the BBC. So that sort of thing, it's the same as Dimscure. There's no different really. I mean, the ceiling on Unpeople is probably higher than Dimscure because of the genres, but yeah. I'm all about the fucking pushing the bands up. And
you're about to be guys with Metallica's management, and I'm about to be guys with a bass player. Okay, so I'm not quite the same.
the weird thing about the podcast is, I think there's an authenticity in how you can talk about a band that just booking a band for a festival doesn't convey that. So was Dim Skewer busier because of you? Fucking 1,000,000%. So that's
thanks,
fucking
James.
great.
I'm glad we got there in the end. It's went full circle back to where we were supposed to be. I'll try not to take any shine from you in future. But can we tell you how amazing your festival is one more time, just to get you back your pedestal?
Yes, we can.
Okay, Glenn Baxter. Can James elaborate on his tangled hair story that I hinted at? This fucking story, by the way, it's done the rounds. I was worried in the day, or I was worried that it would pull out again. So, now it's happened, James, are you going to expand on what you said privately, to an audience at London?
So we did talk about this just off the cuff in London. But basically, so Tangled Hair, for those of you that don't know, have pulled out of ArcTangent on a number of occasions. I can't remember why. It's become a bit of a running fucking meme, really, like Tangled Hair are going to pull out. And on the day we announced the lineup, let's say it was 10 a.m, I got a Facebook notification on my phone, which is a message from the guy from Tangled Hair being like, mate, I'm really sorry. I just gotta, I was just like, I'm not fucking reading this. And then about a week later, because I don't really engage with Facebook messages, I was like, I better go and fucking find out if they've pulled out. And I went back in and he just deleted all his messages. So I spent a few months not knowing if Tangled Hair were going to play. And I felt like that was like appropriate to the history of Tangled Hair. It was appropriate if I didn't know. Like maybe a more professional booker would have found out, but I didn't. But look, I fucking watched them at ArcTangent, and I could watch him drum for days and never get bored. He is the most unbelievably fucking incredible drummer. So subtle and incredible. So I stood on the side of the stage and just watched him. They were great. They can come back again. But that's the story.
Okay. It was good because getting through arms and legs itself after London, because people like, I know James seems quite nonchalant about the fact of whether Tangled Hair are like my favourite band, and I would like to know. So you think we could get part 2 of that story, and you're like, we'll find out at the weekend. Don't worry about that. They're on the planner. It was fine, as they say.
So look, okay. The last question is from Henk Bootcamp, who's from the Netherlands. I noticed quite a lot of people without hearing protection compared to the Netherlands. Fine if you're an adult and make that decision for yourself, but I also saw children without hearing protection. Do you as organisers feel a responsibility to secure children having the proper hearing protection? And is there some way to secure this? I would love these kids to be able to enjoy music when they grow up. So look, the reason I put this in is to try and secure it, because seriously, people need to fucking wake up. I was at an Ugly Kid Joe gig the other day, and the singer stopped the gig and said to a dad in the front row, is your child wearing hearing protection? They were like, no. And he went and got earplugs. You can literally, in about 10 seconds, ruin your hearing forever. So don't be a fucking dicks. Put a hearing protection on your kids. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay. Fuck all to add to that. I mean, anyway, I've had kids go for a young age at ArcTangent. My daughters have got the kids' ear defenders. Kelly always makes sure that. So that sounds like the message from James. If you're taking kids to a fucking loud rock show, stick some rubber ear, but even if it's the shitty ones you get at the front they're no great for the sound, but they definitely do the job of protecting your ears.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Every time you forget them, you're like, shit, it's these ones again, but it's still protecting your ears for getting absolutely blasted.
So are you enjoying basking in the warm glow of this being like our longest ever podcast? Are you feeling okay? Are you feeling panicked by it?
I'm mildly panicked, although we've got this. We need to make this decision of what we're doing with this Rob one, because again, that was like a 2 hours and 10 minutes effort. Even though you've come back today and said, it's probably edited, you could salvage it. I'm a bit like, are you sure? Is it not going to sound dated talking about like Mike Vennart playing at ArcTangent, everything being pre-ArcTangent? Would Rob not prefer just to come on and smash it again?
I don't want to hear him talk for 2 hours again. I thought it was really good. I think we should go for it. So look, look, just to wrap ATG up, I felt like, I don't know why I didn't say thank you to the audience at the live podcast, but the warmth I felt from everyone at ATG was fucking incredible. And like, not just the podcast fans, just everybody. It was amazing. I'm like a kid in a sweet shop running around ArcTangent. I fucking love it. I'm just a fan. I'm like a fan running around watching my favourite bands and sometimes talking to my favourite bands. And like, I had moments at ATG where I just couldn't really believe that it was happening. Like, I just like buying Mike Van Aert a White Russian and just chatting about our kids. And then like, I saw Mikey from Sixth walking towards me, and I was like, he definitely doesn't know who I am. I'm going to go and
James, comedy moment. Me and this guy are talking to each other at the VIP bar for 20 minutes, and you come in like, you've got no idea who each other are, do you? I was sitting talking to Mikey for Sixth, and he's obviously played Damnation, and two of us are talking like, you have got no idea who each other are. Like, oh, thanks, James. That's true. I've just put that back as you mentioned him.
That's good. Particularly because I have no recollection of that. Was that at 4 a.m?
It was about that time. But that saved him talking in one direction about his band and me talking about my festival and no one connecting the dots.
That's amazing. I mean, so I watched his band The Sad Season, who I really love. It's like really fucking prog, really cool. And I was walking across the field on my own, and I saw him, and I was like, I'm going to go and tell him how great it was. And then he looked at me, and I was like, oh, he doesn't know I am, and he's thinking I don't know who he is. And then there's just like this thing where we have this a really nice moment in the field where I tell him loads of nice things about his band, and he tells me loads of nice things about my festival. And it's as the sort of 21-year-old music fan that I am in my head, it's the fucking most exciting thing. It's Mikey from Sixth, and this peaked, right? So I got a text on Friday from Becky from Roadburn saying Shane Embury from Napalm Death wants to come down. I'm really sorry, it's too late, isn't it? And I'm like, of course it's not too late. He can come. It'd be fucking amazing. That'll be wonderful. And apparently Sleepy Time Gorilla Museum are one of his favourite bands. So he came down, and I was standing out the back of Bixler, and he walked past me, and I was just like, hey man, I run the festival, you know, I book all the bands. Thanks so much for coming. I hope you're having a nice time. Is everyone looking after you? And he's like, why have we never played here? And I'm like, I don't know.
We can fix that.
And he's like, we did this set at Roadburn where we adapted Napalm Death to a more experimental audience. We should do something like that for ArcTangent. And I'm just like, mate, this is the fucking greatest conversation of my life. He's like, it's fucking shit.
And I'm sure that conversation happened, and then you bumped into me. You come down the ramp, the walkway, the side of the main stage. You go, Gav, Napalm Death works for ArcTangent, and I'm like, where the fuck did that come from, Napalm Death?
I was so excited. I wanted to cry. It's like Shane Embury gets it. I like it when musicians come and they like understand it. He's like,
yeah,
we can't just come here and do normal, like full on Napalm. We do the experimental. I was fucking speechless. I just fucking love shit like that. I don't know. So that just makes me want to fucking cry with happiness. So that sort of thing at ArcTangent is, I feel really lucky to do my job. So yeah, that's it. That's all I've got to say about that.
One, I thought probably the rest of the stuff involved, the emotional side and everything else, it was one of the best. I said to you at the time, I think I might even said in the live pod that I think with a bit of reflection afterwards, it was going to feel like a really, really special weekend, and I did feel that way. I enjoyed it so much. I mean, I live in ArcTangent Thurrow. I mean, through the swamps, all the swamps, and to the stage that we are now. I mean, it's like, again, I thank you to the just having the hospitality, come down and be able to experience it like that. It's a class time, and that Damnation overlap you're getting now. There's so many Damnation fans that have now came in another direction to ArcTangent. It just feels like a home, because you're getting people about like, oh, you cunts were right. Like, we thought we'd never like, what is all this stupid music? I mean, because sometimes you can fall into a trap that you can catch 2 or 3 James bands in a row and you've taken a bad acid trip, something's went wrong in your day, and you're like, my brother's going, what's happening at this festival? I've just went for a band called Drongo. They were fucking hitting teapots together to some guy in here just like making noises into a mic and says, we went down the wrong path. You went into James's world. You need to make sure that you keep on the right side of the music. And aye, it's brilliant. Absolutely love it. Thank you to everyone involved in ArcTangent, because I mean, you could also have the thing where like there's that prick, you know what I mean, for the podcast, just fucking swanning about with his fucking dim skewer album and his departure songs, vinyl press, but everyone is always fantastic, and aye, I'm looking forward to doing it again next year. So aye, and if we're going to do that and yes, again, when I went out in that live podcast, I couldn't even process the amount of people in the room. I never even registered with me. It didn't feel like any different going out to 10 people or however many of the fucking people were in that. It was like I was so hyper focused on what I was about to say for Bri that I never even get a chance to enjoy the fact that the warmth of the room or how everybody else felt. I hear there was a lot of tears. I didn't thank fucking ever looked up and saw him crying, and else it would have been the end of me and the podcast. So aye, that was great. Honestly, coming out at that time in the morning to do that was it meant the world, and I'm looking forward to wherever this podcast goes next and doing it with the community we've built with it, because it's been, I mean, that GoFundMe, the family set up 12 grand, hit the target and then some, largely driven by the podcast. I mean, there will be obviously other friends and there will be people through Damnation, but you notice the difference. Anytime it was mentioned the podcast or the podcast came out, it took another big spike. So, I mean, it was the spearhead of that funding was from the listeners of the podcast. And I saw people went in and donated twice because they had an extra £5 or they could give another £10. These are people who never met Bri, and it was fucking class, absolute class. It means a lot to the family as well. So, aye, brilliant, absolutely fucking love it. It's I'm all in. I'm glad we've come back with a bang, with fucking a good 2 hours and 15 minutes effort. Mate, you still enjoying the podcast now? So let's finish with another fucking hero, and then we'll get into we'll pick a Patreon and get finished with on the record. Lou's Brews, what a time to be alive with fucking Lou's Brews still kicking about. I've got a roll of Tabasco, I have a wee lost to sea, I've got a dark tangent. I've been, honestly, yesterday I got some butcher's chicken and a tikka marinade, some pita bread, butter, salad, tomatoes, peppers, a wee bit of sour cream, and then I took his mango, his El Burrito fiery mango. It goes amazing with anything that's an Indian, and the pita wrap. I swear to God, it was 11 out of 10. Again today, I tried it with something with the roll of Tabasco one. Stunning as well. I missed these when I was in 2 weeks in Disney World. We missed these sausages a great deal, and then I don't really eat when I'm at festivals, so I missed these sausages. That's so we come back and having all the new sausages to try. Absolutely love them. Go, and that wee lost to sea one is like the two promoters one pod, but instead of being burnt peach, it's burnt orange. Unbelievably good. So pod 15, go and support the guy. He's a wee champ. I give him a lot of grief, right, but he's a good guy. He had good fun with him over the weekend. Go and support that business because he deserves it. Pod 15, louisbrews.co.uk, bunch of new sauces. If he still gets his El Burrito Hot Buffalo, that's the best one. It's like a paste, and that fiery mango one are two classics to go alongside all these new sauces that you can have a go at too.
Lovely.
And Patreon, I'm all over the place with this, guys. There was a couple of people who were due to get stuff at ArcTangent. I don't know if that happened. We're going to need to ask Kev if anybody went up and chanced their arm with giving him. I never sorted it, basically, with the whole situation. I never sorted it.
Did you buy the guy's food?
I bought the guy's food.
Fuck yeah.
What timing for that? He knew I was going to be departure songs. I said to him, so gets to the end of departure songs now. I'm like, pfft. And he goes, right, okay, time to get dinner. It's like, fair play, a deal's a deal. So credit to him. I said, the only thing is I would like to get back to whatever band we've got to see next. So if you would do me the favour of picking one that's not getting a 40-minute queue for tacos, and I believe we bought them because the podcast bought them some Indian dinner at Curry Bay, I think it was. So I was delighted. It was lovely get a chance to go and do that as well, because it's, you say you're going to do something, you really should see it through, and it was nice to be able to do that. So thank you for coming and get me and letting me do that. The Aidan Rufus who I picked the last pod that went out, I had no idea what happened to you. Did you message? Did you no message? If you did, get a message again, let me know. If you're in either of the two people that were due to get stuff at ArcTangent, and that never happened for you, drop us a message and we'll get something sorted. It just got a wee bit messy between the holidays and everything that happened with Bri. And from the Jug of Joy from this week, fresh name it is Paul Hutchings, who I believe, no, I don't believe he was at ArcTangent and all that, it was at the pod. So Paul, let us know what you'd like. Let us know what you'd like. If you don't already have your ticket for one of the shows in Christmas, come and join us then.
Good.
On the record, what have you got for us?
Okay, well, so I'm going to choose the song Bizarre by Mastodon. Brent Hines died this week. I'm not going to go deep into that, but Crack the Sky is their best album, I think, and one of my favourite albums ever. It was his album. He's fucking all over it. I think he wrote most of it. He fucking sang and played on most of it. It's like his thing. And it is by far my favourite Mastodon album. And this song is fucking amazing. So I think he might be the first. This might be the first band to have two songs off the same album on the record. So yeah, The Czar by Mastodon.
Okay, absolutely. Okay, good. I will give that another shot too, now with the sort of added meaning to it. And I mentioned beforehand Zero, who will be playing Damnation. They sound like the most chilled out parts of Deftones.
You've done this twice today. Spell that.
Zeuel, Zero.
Okay, got you.
So they sound like the most chilled out part of Deftones, but with the production and the sound like a holy fawn, it's so dreamy and like shoegaze, and it's really just quite comforting. If I'm looking for like, it makes me feel like I'm at Roadburn, makes me feel like I'm at Outbreak. Sometimes when you catch those between the modern hardcore bands, and then you just get these shoegaze bands that they book from out of nowhere that I've never heard of, but yet they've got 6,000 people watching them, and you go and they've got 1.2 million Spotify plays, and you're a bit like, this band sound like that, and I'm a bit like, I'm willing. I enjoyed everything that's there so far. It just looks like a bunch of EPs that have been collected so far, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to go amazing on the third arena at Damnation, that room where it is a wee bit out there and a bit different, a bit shoegaze and post-rock. So the song's Blight, which is the top song that they've got on when you go through the Spotify playlist, you'll see it there. So looking forward to getting people's opinions on that, because it's going to be one of those bands that are actually big somewhere and have a lot of interest, but I don't think for the Damnation crowd there's going to be a lot of people who know who they are.
Okay, sweet. So I mean, I think we should give ourselves a round of applause for the longest ever Two Promoters One Pod, but we wanted to give people some content after. We
promised this would be a long break, and then it was a short live one, so we did say we would have an extended version. We will not be doing 2 hours and 15 minutes every week. I don't think the live should be very happy with that. But listen, as I said before, this is dedicated to Bri, and all pods going forward will be dedicated to Bri. We're looking forward to the future as well, and we're going to be positive about the whole situation. So get on board with us. Do what Bri told us we should have been doing from the start. Like, subscribe, rate, all that shit that needs to get done for these things to break the algorithm or whatever it is they do on the internet. And I will see you, sir, next week.
I'll be here.